reload the page. And I think everything should be up now. Wait a second, it's not loading. There we go, there we go, there we go. Hello, hello, Noxley. Oh my goodness, you are always so fast. Give me a second here just to let the Discord know everything's up. Hold on. Stream starting now. There we go. But yes, Noxley, thank you for showing up. It's become a game to you. Part of me too, I'm always like, I wonder if this time I'll be able to. I think if I didn't give the warning in Discord, then I might have been able to like sneak in here and be like, I started stream without Noxley knowing. Hello, Relic. Just lurking, watching last match on Peacock. Back in 20 minutes. See you all soon. It will be good to see you soon, Relic. I'm excited to read your story submission later. Have fun. Can you guys all hear the lo-fi beats okay? Again, we have a new setup, so I haven't actually tested the lo-fi beats with this new setup yet. On my OBS it says it's working, but we all know OBS sometimes lies to streamers. We all know this. But otherwise, I'm actually really excited and thrilled with the new setup I have going on. It's been a lot easier to manage. It's a lot easier to kind of see what things are happening where. And again, too, like there's not a lag for you guys. There's not a delay with the model. That's really exciting, right? Might not stick around for too long. By the way, the 2-week Minecraft phase is happening. A 2-week Minecraft phase? Is that an actual Minecraft thing, or is that just something you're going through? I'm not quite sure. But either way, it's all fine. And hey, I'm always happy to be background content for you guys, third monitor content. But otherwise, if you're leaving now, have fun at Minecraft. I hope you have a great night. Thank you for stopping in and always supporting me, Noxley. I appreciate it. You're always a good raccoon. But otherwise, yeah, we have 2 storytime submissions today. Just something you're going through. Spent too long playing it today. As long as it makes you happy. Listen, we all need our serotonin and dopamine with whatever way we can get it. Oh my goodness. And if that's Minecraft for you, please, by all means, go do more of the Minecraft. That Roots loved Minecraft for years. I never got fully into Minecraft. It's just not something that tickles my brain the right way. But Roots loved it for years and years. I think on and off they still do it. So I totally get the Minecraft thing. I know a lot of people really enjoy it. What was I saying? It's too early in the stream for me to be forgetting what I was talking about. Oh my goodness. What, you prefer the building aspect? You suck at PvP. Don't ever make me do player versus player. I don't like PvP games. I don't like PvP shooter games. I don't like the fact that you do games against other people. I'm like, that's when games all went downhill. I don't want all that nonsense with other players. I'm fine fighting like NPCs in the game world, like you know, fighting the bots. As soon as you start bringing other people into it, it's PvP. It gets bad. I don't even play like those Mario games where like you and the other people in the room like fight against each other, and like someone chooses Mario and someone chooses Princess Peach or Kirby or whatever. I don't even do those games. You suck at PvP. Me. I never tried it, so I can't even say if I suck or not, but I probably do. You and me, Noxley. We don't need that PvP nonsense. We don't need it. I need to find a new angle for my camera. It's always thinking I'm looking down. I'm gonna move the camera. I'm gonna try something. Well, if you're hearing noises, it's from me messing with stuff that I probably shouldn't be messing with. So we're gonna see. This is probably a bad idea. If my model's glitching out, that's why. That's what's happening. No, that doesn't look right. Is this a bad idea? Probably. It's probably a bad idea. Currently, you're on a server with some people and building a log cabin in a snowy biome. Takes forever to gather everything. Isn't there a I'm not saying this isn't there a creative mode where like you get unlimited resources, or am I just making that up? I could be making it up. I thought there was something in Minecraft for that, but I totally get the appeal of the game sometimes is harvesting and gathering your own stuff and fighting the monsters and the skeletons and the I forget what the other things are called. The creepers and stuff. I understand that's part of the fun. The server's in survival? That sounds so hardcore. That sounds way too hardcore. Oh my goodness. I'm just moving my camera everywhere, honestly. This might be a good spot for it. This is working. This is working. Okay. Okay. But yeah, if that's part of the fun. There's a mode called Hardcore. When you die, you lose the world? Oh no! Oh no, that is hardcore. Hello, Callie. Hello, Ajuna. But in survival, you can respawn. Okay. So yeah, hardcore sounds... That's way too hardcore for me. No, thank you. Oh my goodness. I had no idea Minecraft could be that extreme. Oh my goodness. Someone's gonna come in here and say there's an extreme mode. These are all different. I'm using all the words wrong. But no, honestly, Loxy, like, thank you so much for showing up all the time that you do. I'm always so happy to see you. But yeah, if you want to have a calm, relaxing day and play some Minecraft and get that serotonin and dopamine, you have Cryptid's full approval. It's whatever makes you happy. Oh, that's right, all the Mothman emotes. I'm glad the Mothman little heart emote's working now, the little animated one. The other stream, it wasn't, like, accepted yet. It was still processing. So I was like, oh man, I got... For the subscribers, they have the animated emotes, and that's not something I decide. It's just what Twitch does. Subscribers get animated emotes. And one of the new animated emotes for subscribers is the little Mothman hugging the heart there. I'm over here trying to drop letters already. That's how tired I am. Yeah, the little Mothman hugging a heart. That's one of the new emotes that I bought for here. It's not a custom one, but yeah, you guys having fun with it? You guys like your Mothman emotes? I'm glad. I was really excited to start putting some new ones in for you guys. What was I saying? There's also some in for subscribers and non-subscribers. There is the, let me see if I can find it. There's some like Christmassy themed ones. Let me see if I can find them real quick. Hold on. There's this gingerbread cookie one. And then there is this guy too. For the holidays. Spooky holiday stuff. You did shadow boxing with 33 pounds of weight? That sounds impressive. I know nothing about shadow boxing other than that it's probably a form of boxing. That sounds so cool. That sounds so legit, Callie. Oh my goodness. Are you ready to start beating people up? Are you gonna start like punching other raccoons in the dumpsters? Like you're gonna be getting all the scraps first? That's hardcore. We were just talking about hardcore Minecraft. That's hardcore too. I'm not always good at the punching and the boxing. That's why I have sharp stabby stuff. I rely on sharp things to get my messages across. I think people who actually know how to fight are like really impressive. He's not getting my food. That's right. All my raccoons are tough. I got tough raccoons. This is so interesting too because I'm actually not even fully paying attention to chat on Twitch. I'm just seeing the chat on my OBS screen, which is really cool because before the OBS screen was so delayed that I could have seen something in Twitch chat, read it, responded to it, and then moved on to the next subject by the time it actually showed up on OBS. It was like a really noticeable delay, and yet now it's all synced up. It's working. I can just watch the OBS screen. And I can see your guys' messages. It's so nice. I said I shouldn't use the weights, but I'm bad at listening, I guess. Hey, you know, whatever way that you improve. Sometimes we gotta improve at our own pace. And if your pace is going ahead of the curve, then that's the pace you're at. Is there a reason not to use the weights? Have you not gotten used to the previous weights yet? I don't know all this stuff. Just take care of you. You don't want to hurt yourself at all. But hey, if you're using them correctly and like your body can handle it, then yeah, get ready to punch people with all the 30-pound weights. That's cool. That's really impressive. But today, are we all ready for story time? And this one too, you guys have seen that I've been playing Peak and some games with Penny VT. Also Will. So if you see the two different usernames in the Discord between like Will and Penny, it's the two different accounts for like the same person. They go by both names. But yeah, they actually submitted to story time today. Isn't that really exciting? And then Author Relic will be back here in about 20-30 minutes, they said. And Author Relic also submitted some work for story time. So we have two different story time submissions today. That's really awesome. If you guys have any story time submissions you want to put in last minute, feel free to let me know and put them in the Discord in the story submission section. And as long as I'm feeling up to it, I'll see if I can get to them. But yeah, today I've tried to still take it easy. Oh, my model looks tired. Jeez. You did use 2 pounds for the gloves, so it should be okay. Two pounds for the gloves? Where were the other pounds? Were they like on your feet? I have no idea how this works. But yeah, as long as you're okay, then that's the important part. You never want to hurt yourself when you're doing all this cool badass stuff, right? When you're over here training to be like a Marvel Avenger superhero, you don't want to be hurting yourself. But as long as it's safe, that's the important part. But let me make sure. If Penny's here, I want to make sure that they are here for their story time, so I'll message them. But otherwise, are you raccoons having a wonderful season, having a wonderful time? I'm feeling bad right now, but it happens every month. You know, I'll get used to it. But are the rest of you having good holiday times? Enjoying the cooler weather? Enjoying snow for some of you, depending on where you are? Are you guys all having fun? Let me message them real quick. Hey, Hugh. More story time. If I can spell. I can't even spell. There you go. See if this math makes sense. You woke up at 4. Okay, you woke up at 4 a.m. or p.m.? A.m. or p.m.? That's the next important part. Oh, well, we'll see if they take a minute. But yeah, I'm really excited for story time. I'm really excited to get cracking, to wake up my brain a little bit. And you've been awake for 18 hours. Shuna, why do you do this to yourself? Oh, hey, Penny, I just messaged you. Hello. It's now 5 p.m. Wait. If it's 12 hours to make it 4 again. I don't want to do mental math. I'm feeling sick. Why are you making me do math, Ajuna? The vest is 12 pounds. The belt is 10. The ankles are 3.5. And you also do burpees in between. You're so tired. I bet I'm tired just reading that. Cal, you're coming out here. You're going to be the next Marvel's Avenger. You're going to be the next Marvel's Avenger. You're going to be beating up all the bad guys. You're sorry, Ben, you were just in a call with friends. There's no need to be sorry, but I'm so glad you're here. I would have just felt bad if we did story time and you missed part of it. I'm like, oh no, I was gonna start with yours. I would have felt so bad if you missed it. But no, it's all good. It's all good. Anyway, I was super excited. I took a peek. I'm trying to do the thing now where I log on to the Google Docs just to make sure that the links work. So I opened this. You might have seen it earlier. I opened this earlier just to make sure the link worked. But I caught the first part, which is Wonderland. And I don't know if I've talked about it on stream yet. I am such a whore for anything Wonderland themed or inspired or redone or anything like that. If it's a Wonderland, even like motif, even if it's not something like specifically about Wonderland, I'm a sucker for it. I love that shot. It's it's not even a genre, but like it kind of is now. There's the whole entire genre spin-offs of Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland stuff. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I'll never be too tired for more Wonderland stuff. Anyway, that's enough about me yapping. Are we ready for story time? Are we all comfy and cozy? We all got our drinks and beverages? I'm gonna take a sippy real quick, and then I'll get to reading. This is from Penny BT. So if you guys have seen me playing with them some peep games for the last few streams, this is their storytime submission. Hold on. That was a good sippy. Alrighty. I'm gonna lift. Is the mic okay, or should I lift up the mic? Your brother calls me Saitama. My friends call me Broccoli. Don't call me Popeye, because all I eat is soy sauce drenched broccoli. Alrighty. Chapter 1, Wonderland. The sound of faint knocking got louder as... Is it Ellis? Is it Eli? Eli or Ellis? My brain's not braining right now. I think it's Ellis. The sound of faint knocking got louder as Ellis continued walking through the forest. At first, he had dismissed the noise as mere natural sounds, but the fact it hadn't stopped after several minutes quickly made him consider otherwise. Each thump repeated itself every few seconds, with drawn-out hints that added some rhythm to it. It wasn't anything as methodical as Morse code, but the knocking appeared to at least be intentional, with its purpose being to lure someone towards its source. Was this the call that my granddad had written about? Ellis put down his luggage on the ground and pulled out the novel draft his grandfather had written. He held his pocket torch over the pages as he skimmed through their text. He vaguely remembered having read about this call in the early chapters. However, he wasn't too hopeful of finding a straightforward answer. The comments his grandfather had left him were vague at best, and ramblings at worst. Ellis flipped through the pages until handwriting in red ink caught his eye. Bottom corner, page 32. You'll know when you hear it, boy. Ellis recalled his Gramps' voice as he read the sentence, and a half grin formed on his face. Yeah, figures. Ellis closed the book and put it back inside his shoulder bag. Walking towards the source of the knocking seemed to be the best, if not only thing he could do. And so he continued walking deeper into the woods. Thump, 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 thump. Nothing. The sound stopped as soon as Ellis had reached a glade. He flashed his torch around him, half expecting to meet someone waiting for him. But no one was there. The place was as eerily empty as one would expect, if this were a normal night. Hello? Ellis called out meekly, unsure he'd even get a response. All he could do was make sure his presence there was known. I'm here on behalf of my family, the Galvanos. A thundering, cracking noise answered his voice. He stepped back and flashed the torch around him again. Several thin roots had erupted from within the ground, and stretching towards the night sky, flailed like live tentacles. Slowly they bent and locked into each other, weaving themselves into a solid, rectangular shape. A rock emerged from within the still writhing thicket, pushing past the roots and adding a knob to what now resembled a crude door. Immediately, said door began to creak. Then it rustled violently. Finally, it flung open, revealing the other end to be somehow darker than the very woods Ellis had found himself in. Curiosity lured Ellis forward, and he approached the door to inspect it, but his eyes and ears warned him otherwise. Within that darkness, something was forcing its way out from beyond the door. He froze, only able to keep his torch focused at the door before him, and wait. 2 arms emerged from the deep black, grasping and latching onto the imaginary frame of the door. A horned head soon followed the arms, sliding out sideways, accompanied by violent chiming of bells. The creature then proceeded to forcibly squeeze its torso out of the door. Ellis recoiled at the sound of the creature's nails scraping against the roots, but still couldn't move, entranced by the strange sight before him. Its legs were next, and they were dragged out, one by one. The light of Ellis's torch followed the creature's body as it stood upright. The creature was taller than any of the trees around, and much more so than the door from which it had spawned from. Its frame was thin, if not malnourished, and yet its head was abnormally imposing, crowned with antlers that stretched out like long branches. Bells hung from those same horns. Burgundy cloth draped over its body, barely stopping short of the ground. The little skin that was visible barely disguised the shape of the creature's bones. The creature's body shifted as it crouched to meet Ellis. It kneeled, placing one of its hands on the ground to support itself. The features of its face were contoured into the shape of a keyhole, with no visible nose or ears. The giant remained still as its singular eyeball examined Ellis for what felt like an eternity. "You." It cocked its head, and a dozen bells rang softly. "You are Ellis Galvano." "Yes." Ellis only reacted once the creature spoke. Its voice was slow and boomy. The fact that such an inhuman thing could speak English was fascinating and equally disturbing. Lost for words, Ellis simply nodded. "I am your guide." The giant pointed one of its 3 long fingers at the door that still stood behind it. "Enter now." Ellis complied, but he still felt his hair raise as he approached both the creature and the door. They were something beyond everything he knew, and every fiber in his body could feel it. He kept his eyes on the door, but the longer he stared at the portal, the more he was convinced that there was nothing on the other side. Had my granddad also felt this uncertainty? He glanced back at the guide as he stood in front of the pitch-black entrance, but the creature simply kept its finger aimed at the portal, offering no further words. He took a half-step forward and immediately stopped. The realization of his current situation had hit him. He was merely inches away from leaving the world he knew. Thoughts of his mother and sister flashed into his mind. He had to fight the urge to turn back and escape. He reminded himself that this was necessary precisely because of them. Running away wouldn't fix anything. Someone from his family had to be in front of the door. It was him or them, and it had to be him. There were no alternatives. He took a deep breath as he dragged his uncooperating body into that darkness. He walked forward, but he couldn't see anything except black. And then he felt something brush past his body. The experience had lasted less than a minute and felt oddly mundane. Still, Ellis had crossed into another world. A smell of damp wood assaulted his nose, but even that wasn't as unpleasant as the way the floor under his feet breathed. Ellis tried to stay still as his eyes still adjusted to the new world's faint lighting. The only light sources appeared to be translucent strands that dangled from the ceiling too far up. These filaments would flash various shades of purple intermittently, and always from the ground up. "What is this place?" Ellis tried to remember any passages that had described this location in the novel, but none came to mind. Veshaja, the booming voice of the guide, hit Ellis from behind him like a jolt of electricity. Its voice was immediately followed by creaking and then a singular thud. Ellis turned around and flashed his torch haphazardly around him. Wherever the door had been, it was long gone. The guide stood behind him, towering over Ellis like a misplaced tree. The light of the torch barely hit the feet of the creature. This is where worlds connect. The guide added before lumbering past Ellis. Then, without a word of warning, scooped up his luggage with a single hand. The creature didn't stop walking. Follow me. The words were nothing short of an order. The journey is long. Ellis trudged behind the creature, taking in the monotonous sights that the so-called Veshaja had to offer. Wherever they were, it appeared to be a cavernous area. The floor seemingly extended endlessly, with scattered rocks serving as landmarks that guided them onto a path of sorts. The route was filled with several haphazard turns and splits that the guide didn't bother to explore or even acknowledge. Ellis tried asking where they were going to, or where these detours led, but the guide simply kept on walking, ignoring those and any other questions he even bothered at making. They took their first left after walking for what felt like hours. A stairwell waited for them at the end of a long, winding corridor. Ellis was quick to notice that the steps were crude and primitive and definitely not designed for anything remotely sized like a human. They jutted from a massive stalagmite, with the distance between each other being nothing short than half a meter. Unsurprisingly, the guide didn't bother to slow down its pace, while Ellis threw himself from one step to the next, barely catching up. His legs felt beat after the first 20 flights, and he stopped bothering with counting after 30. Ellis wanted to berate the giant, but talking to him had proven to be fruitless, and cursing would likely be no different. So, Ellis settled with an exhausted grunt before he forced himself to keep following after the creature. He knew that it was his only option. Eventually, they reached a new floor. The guide didn't spare Ellis a moment to catch his breath, but he had grown used to his lack of consideration. The brand new floor turned out to look much like the one they had left behind. Ellis would not have even noticed that it was a different area, if not for the stinging in his legs that reminded him of the climb. The only real difference between the floors was the way that the guide had decided to navigate it. Left, right, right, left, and so, and so. The turns were too many to count, and Ellis gave up caring to try to remember the way back. Almost there. The giant turned to look at Ellis, still continuing to march forward. Ellis smiled. Never in his life had 2 words given him that much relief. A glowing white light came into view. It floated in a room ahead of them. The shape was fuzzy, its own light making it look like a blurry orb within the darkness. Luna, is that you? You okay, baby girl? She's probably fine. I think she's playing with a toy. It drifted across the air like a ghost, seemingly alive. Upon reaching the room, the guide dropped Ellis's luggage onto the floor and walked ahead. The creature stretched its arms and, with casual ease, cupped it with its hands. Ellis caught up to the giant and waited for it to move, next to his luggage. However, the guide didn't move, It had sat down, remaining motionless for a few minutes, seemingly absorbed by the orb it caught. Then, as if to catch Ellis off guard, the creature slammed a hand onto the ground. A loud thud echoed across the room immediately after. Vines and roots emerged from the floor in a fashion that felt all too familiar to Ellis. Another door. The guide stood up and approached the door, only to sit down again before it. Carefully, its hands reached for the bells that hung from its antlers. One by one, it began flicking them, and each bell chimed differently. The ringing echoed and formed a tune. The gaps between the vines of the door began to glow, and the shine intensifying the longer the bells kept ringing. The guide then turned to Ellis, inviting him to approach the new door. The giant fished for something within its robes, and, finding it, extended its hand towards the door, adding a knob to it. The knob immediately turned on its own, and the door flung open, forced by brisk puffs of wind that poured into the room. A wintry landscape greeted on the other side of the gate. Ellis's grandfather had called it a Feltier in his unpublished novel, but others would simply call it the land of the Fae. Ellis needed no instructions from the guide to know what to do next. He picked up his luggage and walked through the portal. His vision had become blurry from his eyes adjusting to the daylight, so it took him a minute to fully register and take in his new surroundings. Contrary to the forest's initial cold appearance, there was no snow to be found. It was simply the foliage that was unnaturally white. It teemed with diversity of flora, with flowers of all shapes and colors, as well as bushes and trees that twisted into impossible shapes. The sound of whistling echoed throughout the scattered trees, ringing ever faintly. Atop these trees, colorful birds imitated the whistling with their own bird song. He took a deep breath. The air felt as pure as his granddad had described it. He dropped his bags and quickly searched for the wool sweater and beanie he had packed away in the navy duffel. He then fished for his phone out of his pants pocket. Reading about a Faltier wasn't the same as seeing it with his own eyes. Just a few glances at the place had been enough to get the amateur photographer in him excited, and he couldn't help but walk around and snap a few landscape photos before heading down the mountain. He strolled the woods like a kid in a toy store, shooting at anything that he found interesting. As he followed the trail down, he found a stone bench. A robed creature sat on top of it, accompanied by a large basket filled with vegetables and other foodstuff. The critter had an appearance far more familiar to Ellis than the guide he had met previously. The creature was as big as a human child, but it wasn't really any different from a red tabby. Its tail was split into two, and it bobbed up and down. Ellis noticed that its eyes were closed, so the cat appeared to be fast asleep, but it still held on to its conical hat tightly. Not wanting to wake it up, but still enticed to take a photo of it, Ellis tried his best to approach the bench silently. Still, the cat's ears were sharp, and they perked right up as soon as they caught the sound of his footsteps. The creature sprung awake and immediately adopted an upright pose. Our eyes met, and I could feel its glare on me for a few seconds. Its face then softened up, shifting from an annoyed expression to a confused one. The cat hopped off the bench and equipped his basket as if it were a backpack, and then hurried further down the trail. Ellis was left speechless at the encounter, but quickly brushed it off once he noticed that the bench was available. He took the opportunity to sit down and rest. He pulled his phone and went through the numerous pointless photos he had taken. To him, it felt surreal to scroll past photos that depicted such fantastical scenery on his own phone screen. These were sights that only a few humans had been allowed to witness, and Ellis was both equally lucky and unlucky to be one of them. Leaking pictures or even information of the Fae world was forbidden and punishable. This was one of the conditions that the Fae had given for their cooperation with mankind. So Ellis knew that he'd have to delete all the photos he had taken, if not destroy the burner cell phone altogether. The fact that his grandfather had gotten away with writing a secret, unpublished manuscript was a miracle in itself. He stood up, having rested a fair bit. Ellis knew he still had quite the journey to his next destination. Per his grandfather's novel, he would need to descend the mountain and reach a fishing hamlet. He continued to go further down the trail, and as he did, wondered if he would run into any other Fae creatures. He couldn't help feeling conflicted about them. They were both benefactors and tyrants to humanity. They were the reason he had stranded himself in a foreign world, singled out as a sacrifice for whatever the Bardwell Witch had in store for him and the other participants. And yet, his grandfather hadn't written a single complaint about them, not even when he had been in the same position that Ellis found himself in. Perhaps survivor bias? He did make it out alive. He then wondered again if he would be as lucky, and then perished the thought. Ellis preferred to not consider himself dead yet, even if the mortality rate of the participants was against him. An unexpected tackle shook him off his thoughts, making both him and his luggage hit the floor. A huge, wild boar had run into him, seemingly frightened. Ellis reached for the weapon at his hip, the dull sword that had been left behind by his granddad. The boar made distance between them and ran into a circle, allowing Ellis to get up and unsheath the sword. He brandished it before the boar, but the animal still readied itself for a dash, its sight on Ellis. In an instant, the animal sprinted towards him, and he swung his sword in response. The tip of the weapon hit the head of the boar, knocking it over to the right. But without a cut, the edge of the blade... Hold on, I got a cough. Oh, is the mic working again? I think I turned it off for the cough. So sorry about that. Knocking it over to the right, but without a cut, the edge of the blade barely graced the tough hide of the animal. The boar got back on its feet and launched itself into a charge not too long after. Ellis hit it again, but the creature didn't relent, its anger seemingly keeping it from being knocked down. The boar pushed Ellis back down. And that's what we got. That's our 4 pages from Penny VT here in the chat. I'm behind on the chat real quick. Hold on. Hello, Maine. It's good to see you. Hi, Mango. It's not as bad today. Yesterday, which is the second day of my cycle, that's always the worst. Today's bad, but I had medicine and I have like some heating pads and stuff helping me get through it. So I'll feel better tomorrow, really. You missed that perspective change? I was writing it first person and then changed to third person. Yeah. That happens all the time. Don't ever feel bad about it. That's one of the benefits to having somebody else read it, right? Is noticing little stuff like that, right? Sometimes when we read our own work back to us, our brain like skips over that stuff because it's kind of like speed reading in our brain. Like the brain already knows the information it thinks is there, so it skips over it. It just glances over it. But then having somebody else actually read it, it's easier to then notice that stuff. So yeah, don't feel bad about it. As long as you caught it too, then that's already a good thing. And hello, Author Relic. It's good to see you. We just finished reading Penny or Will's little submission here. I haven't given feedback yet, but yes, this is so. So the only thing bad about it is I'm already so biased. I love Wonderland stuff and I love Fae stuff. I'm so biased in it. That's so you're dyslexic and read this as applesauce? Oh no. A mango. Oh, you submitted two? Yeah, we'll see how I'm feeling at the end. I'm trying to take it easy, so we'll finish this and then we'll do author relic, and then I'll take stock of how I'm feeling, and then if I can do it today, I'll try to get it done for you today. He says, sucks watching a childhood hero end his career. I grew up watching that dude. Crazy to see his retirement stuff. Oh, you listened to the story too? Yeah, it was really good. I really like it. One of the things I will tell you right off the bat, because for anyone new here, we do storytime submissions, and I give 2 critiques, because we never want to overwhelm people with critiques, because it's already so brave to have your stuff read live on stream, right? It's really scary. So thank you, Penny, for submitting your stuff. It's wonderful, but along with the 2 critiques, I also try to point out stuff that I think is good, because sometimes knowing the stuff you are doing good is really important too, because then you know that you can like hone in on that stuff more if you know that you're already like knocking it out of the park. Did you catch the cheeky wordplay with the main character's name and the title? Wonderland and Ellis? Oh, like is like based off like Lewis? Like C.S. Lewis? No, not C.S. Lewis. What am I? Oh my god, I'm so tired. My brain's not working. Oh my, you said Ellis Galvanos. Yes, Alice in Wonderland instead of Alice. Yes, okay. I think I was so worried that I was saying the name wrong. And that the only thing that made me say was Ellis, because I'm like, oh, like Ellis Island. So like I'm probably saying it right, or like in a way that could be construed as right. That's the problem with me doing blind reads. I'm just going in blind. I hoped I said the last name Galvanos at least partially correct. And then there were some fantasy names here that I wasn't gonna stress over the Vaishaja, blah 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 blah. And there was something else too. So hopefully I at least did a passable attempt at it. I'm sorry if I butchered anything. It's just this Cryptid's best attempt. But I was saying the good things. I was gonna say the good things. I will say you knocked it out of the park with the spot you chose to start it. This was a really strong place to start. I think a lot of times some people struggle with, where do I start my story? Should it be the day before? Should it be at this scene? Should it be 2 scenes back? Should it be a week before or after? It's sometimes really difficult for people to pick the starting part. How much can they give background info? How close should they be to the action? To something interesting happening? Like what's going on? People sometimes really struggle with it. That's what I'm trying to say. I loved this intro. This intro was a really good, strong start. The actual hearing these faint knocking sounds as he's going through a forest already gets you intrigued, and he's thinking about stuff. He's referencing this book. He's looking for something until he gets to the clearing, and then it's just before he has this contact with the Fae that we then find out it's his guardian or his guide. That's what it is, his guide. I love the spot you chose. That was a really good, strong start. I really like that. I think, yeah, I have no issues with that. I just you can tell Cryptid's tired because I'm just rambling nonsense. But yeah, for stuff that I say is a positive, I think the place you chose to start the story is really, really good. For everyone new here, we do 2 critiques. We try not to do any more unless people resubmit. Looking for more feedback and critique because we never want to overwhelm anybody. Cryptid's feedback is gold. If Cryptid can talk normally, then it's good. When Cryptid's struggling to talk, then it's always like, it's mediocre. Hold on, let me take a sippy, because that was a lot of reading. Everyone, don't forget to take a sippy. You can be tough. I'll take a red marker. I'm just going all over the place. They're like hydrate and dihydrate. I just did it. Oh my goodness. Okay, another sippy. Here's your sippy. There's your sippy. I'm almost out of sippy. I have to ask Roots to make me more sippies. More soda. So for the two critiques, I would say as much as the beginning spot is like perfect, I love the beginning spot you chose, I think the pacing overall is a little bit fast. I think this is all so interesting. It's such a good place to be, and you could actually slow down the pacing here. I think you could let us sit in these scenes a little bit longer, because they are the right scenes to be in. These are interesting things that are happening. The readers want to be immersed in this, and it's happening a little too fast for readers to fully get immersed. Commander Roots is not here. They might be listening to me on a third monitor. They might be doing Final Fantasy 14 stuff. I'm not quite sure. Down the hallway. We have Luna out. If you guys ever hear me say Luna, that's one of the cats. She's released separately from all the other cats. And that means there's like actual screen doors we have inside the house to make sure she can't go and interact with the other cats because she's not quite safe to be around the other cats yet. So Roots is on the other side of the screen door. Hydrate. Thanks, Roots. Pacing is definitely something you have questions about. If you have specific questions you want to ask, please feel free. That's all fine. And I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, I definitely feel like, let me see if I can find a good example of it. I want to see. So here is the. I'm gonna highlight stuff. You didn't want to bore the reader, so I thought you would skim over stuff. But honestly, so when you're I think when writers are in the wrong scenes or unimportant scenes, then they should skim stuff, right? If a writer is in the wrong or a boring scene, you should skim over stuff because it's not interesting. When a writer is in the correct scene, like the interesting scene, the scenes that readers want to read more about, it is totally fine to like immerse yourself in that scene. If you have any favorite modern day novels that you love reading, that you get lost in their stuff, I highly suggest this. Look at their stuff, read a couple pages, read a scene, read a short chapter, as long as the chapters are short. I know some people write really long chapters, but read like a short chapter or just a scene. And then when you're done with it, when you're like, yeah, that was a super awesome scene, then actually look back and realize how physically long that scene is. How many paragraphs does that author that you like, that you want to be like, take to write somebody going through the woods? How many paragraphs is the back and forth dialogue between a new character that's introduced? How many paragraphs is the jail cell scene before the character escapes? And then when you actually because in your head it feels fast because you're just absorbing the story, you're just reading it. And then practically as a writer, go back and look at how long that author physically took to write that interesting scene. It's always longer than you think it is. When you are in a scene, when you are a reader and you are engaged in a scene, you can read pages and pages of a scene and it doesn't feel that long because you're immersed. That's the right scene to be reading about. It's an interesting scene. If you're writing about a grocery store shopping trip and you're on page 3 of this boring grocery store shopping trip, then yeah, you need to skim it. The boring grocery store shopping trip could have just been a line or two. We didn't need everything about a grocery store shopping trip. Somebody in a forest. It also sounds like it's a dark forest because he has the flashlight, right? Somehow darker than the very woods Ellis found himself in. So yeah, these are like dark woods at I'm guessing night, or at least like in the evening. He has a flashlight. He's trying to read this text from an unpublished novel from his grandfather. There's noises. He's trying to follow these like weird thumping sounds in the dark forest at night. Oh my god. This is cool. This isn't a boring grocery shopping scene. This is like legit. You could easily take just him going through the forest here, which, let's see, this is the first paragraph. Second paragraph, he's reading the book. I'm not gonna go here because here's when the sound stops, and I don't want that yet. Just this, him going through the forest and referencing the book and struggling and finding around stuff, that could have been the whole page for pacing wise. That could have been a whole page. Hold on, my lo-fi beats. Wait, my lo-fi. No, go back. I might do ads. I'm so sorry. Hold on.
Introducing Grammarly, like you've never seen before.
Get out
Your
of here.
all-in-one writing
I don't want
essential.
this.
Recycle.
There we go. Okay, sorry. Back to business. So yeah, that when you're ever unsure of to skin something and just mention it, always ask yourself: is this just a technical, mundane, boring thing I feel for logistical purposes I have to add? Like grocery shopping. My character picked up more food. That should be as short and skim-worthy as possible. You can move the bit if possible. Full screen. Well, that's interesting. I don't know how. You'll show me later. It's fine. They've all pulled up with my lo-fi beats for over almost 2 months at this point. They can deal with it for one more day, thankfully. But yeah, so when it's an interesting story beat, when it's the cool story stuff, when it is your character's in the woods following noises at night based off this book from a grandfather, like no, that is, you can actually immerse yourself, and that could easily take up a page. That could easily take up more than a page, because that's the interesting part of the story the readers want to hear about. If it's something like, what does his luggage look like, then yeah, that could just be a short little part of a sentence. That's just a little throwaway thing. You right click on it and it will be an option. Why are you making me do things now live on stream? Why am I right clicking? Settings. Yep. I don't know what I'm right clicking. Just fix it later. And make me more soda. I drank all of it. I don't have any more sippies. What was I saying? So, it was about pacing. So yeah, I said the first 2 paragraphs here could have been extended to the page. Then what's the next part here? So then he's walking towards the source. We're hearing the thumping, and then it stops. And that could have been a really ominous moment, right? I was over here like, oh god, it stopped. What does that mean? Is it bad? Is it good? Is he gonna die? I have no idea. The readers have no idea. We're just put in here. That could have been here on behalf of my family, the Galvanos. I think, yeah, there could have been some more suspense right before the thunder and crack. We could have been with this character. We could have been fully in his mind. We could have been like, yeah, oh god, like, do we even hear grasshoppers? Do we hear crickets? Does he explore? Does he like try to shine the flashlight around? Is he worried about anything breathing down his neck? Is he here? Is it scary taking that first step and then hearing his like shoes crunch the grass or leaves? Does he have to make it to the center of the thing before he calls out? Does he call out and then it's silent for a moment, and then that anxiety, that foolishness, did he get it wrong? Is his palm sweating? Is he like shining the flashlight around? Is he suddenly worried if he brought enough batteries for it? I don't know if it's like a normal flashlight, if it's like a phone flashlight. But that kind of stuff, you could have absolutely extended this with the pacing, made the pacing longer. I'm getting the feeling I get before a nightmare. What do you mean? This is just cool. It's cool. There's fairy stuff later. The guardian, the guide came by, and now this person's in a fantasy fae land for like the fae Hunger Games. It's all good. It's all good. You know, I mean, Hunger Games aren't good, but you know what I mean. It's all fine. But I'm just saying this. When it's this really cool, interesting stuff, and sincerely, this is super cool. This is interesting. This is something somebody wants to read about. You could absolutely extend it and really immerse the readers in these cool scenes. But yeah, I also know pacing's a really hard thing to get right, and no one's ever gonna get it right the first time on their rough drafts. So never feel like you have to. But just for future reference, yeah, something grocery store shopping wise, something a boring mundane flashback that's not like cool or spooky. That's just to give like the one tidbit of information. Or like more mundane stuff is normally the throwaway lines, the getting up and washing your face and going to the bathroom and putting on clothes. That's normally the throwaway lines, right? That's the very short things you just briefly mention in like a sentence or two to establish like, hey, yeah, that stuff happened, but that's not the interesting story stuff. This is absolutely interesting story stuff. The pacing could have really stretched this out and immersed the readers into it, and it would have been so strong, and it would have been such like it already is a compelling premise. Making the readers sink into it would have made it a really strong story. That's the little difference. That thing right there would have made this from an 8 out of 10 to easily an 11, 12 out of 10, right? That would be a huge step if you really drag this out and immerse the readers in these cool ideas you have. I'm losing my voice. I'm gonna take a sippy. Hold on. One of my last sippies. I have one singular sippy left in that glass. So I said the first one is pacing. I gave the good. One of the first critiques is pacing. What is another one when I'm thinking back on it? What would be my second critique? I think I guess it depends if you want critique on the physical act of writing or on storytelling stuff. I'm gonna go, what would be the best one to serve you right now? I think for story-wise, I'm gonna go on story-wise instead. I'm gonna choose that one. For story-wise, you have some moments here of writing the thoughts of what Ellis is going through. It's nice he's even grinning. We get some times where we get some personality from Ellis, and that's really, really good. I think we could actually have a little bit more to really know the personality of Ellis. Is he, like I was saying, is he scared? Is he constantly going through worst case scenarios in his head? You say later, right after he's already through this portal and stuff, he pushes some negative thoughts aside. That kind of characterization of him could have been even earlier, right? When he's in this empty glade calling out and not sure if anyone's going to answer. And he's worrying, like, did I do it wrong? Am I in the wrong spot? Was that not the right noises? Did I mess up somehow? Nope, gonna shove all those thoughts aside. Let me just call again even louder. We could have had a little bit more of Ellis to make him a really, really strong character that we associate with, that we're understanding his point of view. And I feel like there could have been some, I'm just highlighting things randomly, by the way. So I'm just fidgeting. But yeah, there could have been some areas where we got some more personality. You already have some of it. You already got like 50% of the way there. I think there could have been even stronger personality. Like, feel free to absolutely go through. I think there was even a part here, what I'm thinking of, with Ellis just starts mentioning that he talked with the creature and then gave up after the guardian, the guide, stopped speaking back. You could absolutely, and it would be interesting, have Ellis just keep having those questions to the guide, and the guy just doesn't answer, and so Ellis is just keep asking other random things while he's doing all this stuff to kind of show that he's just kind of keeping busy, that he's like ignoring the questions and the worries in his head. And it would have been a really good way to show Ellis's voice as a character and his thought process and what things he's worried about and what things he's asking. This scene in particular, where he's interacting with the guide and they're walking, would have been a really great moment to show some more personality, because not too much else is happening during the walking scene. So when not too much is happening, that's an easy area to put in more character personality, because then readers don't mind, because we're getting the cool character stuff happening, right? You can always balance character driven stuff and then action driven stuff, and since not too much was happening during the walking, I feel like That would have been the cool thing, to learn more about Ellis. What questions is he asking the guide? Is he rambling? Is he anxious? Is he asking more about these trials he's gonna have to go through? The Bardagwitch. I have no idea how I said that the first time. Bardagwitch. And these participants, is he asking anything about that? Is he just asking about the scenery? There's a lot of mentioning of the flora and fauna and how the stones work and how everything. Is Ellis naturally interested in environmental stuff? Is he like this environmentalist kid, this nerd who really likes like plant biology and therefore super interested in how Fae plant biology would work? This would be super cool to show that even though he's worried about going into this scary survival Fae challenge thing, that he's still noticing all the cool plants around, and even though he's anxious, he's burying those thoughts away, and so he's asking, hey, how does this moss work? Oh, how does this work? How are these plants growing without sunlight? That would have been so cool to get to know Ellis here a little bit, because this is a really compelling character. This is someone in a really unique situation of they're going to, I don't quite know it yet, I'm just going to say the Fae World Hunger Games with this Bardagwitch. It's interesting. It's interesting. So when you're writing something interesting, assume your readers are interested. And if your readers are interested, you can write more about it. I think my biggest takeaway is still the first critique of give yourself permission to fully expand on stuff. Fully immerse people. Fully give all these cool things the space and the attention it deserves. I think it will really level up your writing. So that was my good point. I really like the two concepts here. I love the Fae being brought in. I love the Wonderland aspect. I love the starting. He chose a really strong start. This is a really captivating start. And those are my two critiques. The pacing, and I think you could have leaned stronger. You already have it. I'm not going to say you don't. You already do have some characterization with Ellis. I think you could make it even stronger, though. I think we could really start seeing parts of Ellis's personality and thought process shine through even more. So yeah, that's my critique. I hope that helps, Penny. And again, it's always super scary submitting things live on stream. So thank you so much for doing that. No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for submitting it. I enjoyed it, and I will super look forward to if you ever submit more of this, because I am the exact target audience for this. This is right up my alley. Oh my goodness, 110%. So if you ever submit more for this, I will happily read it. And if you don't want it live on stream, I'll probably sign me down to be a beta reader. I love this type of stuff. I eat it up. So thank you so much. That was our first story time, and then I think we have Author Relic still here hanging out, and he submitted more story time too. Hello, Author Relic. I just wanted to make sure. I would hate the idea if I read it and then you weren't here. I genuinely try to make sure that if I'm doing someone's story time critique, that they're at least present in chat. If I don't notice you guys here, then I'm like, oh, maybe I should hold off on it. I know people are like, oh, we could just watch the VODs later, but I know the VODs are really long, and sometimes people don't always want to watch through all of that. That's fine. Oh, do you want me to mute it? Hold on, we're doing loud stuff. I'm gonna mute the mic real quick. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, there's loud noises. I was muting the mic to make sure you guys wouldn't be bothered by it.
Your patience.
Thank you. Roots is being very kind and making me soda. Because I complained about it on stream. They tolerate too much of my bullshit. And there's a note in the second tab. Okay, here's the second tab. Cinder, a Lawrence Grimes novel, book 1 by David W. Connor. The following is chapter 5 of my upcoming psychological horror and horror novel. It has been professionally edited for publication. Please enjoy and share your thoughts. This one's been professionally edited? That's so exciting. Oh my goodness. That's really cool. Oh my goodness. I feel like when we first started November. You were still working on this stuff, and it's already like been done and professionally edited. That's crazy. You guys are gonna hear a noise because I'm opening a soda bottle. There we go. Thank you, Roots. Love you. Do you guys hear that ASMR of me pouring soda? My new ASMR channel. How much soda can you drink? Yeah, too much. Okay, everyone take a big sippy. So everything's here is gonna be perfect, right? Right, Relic? Everything here's gonna be perfect. I'm not gonna be able to give any critique. Sorry, go back. Chapter 5. Welcome to Cinder. Should be. No, to be fair, full thing. Even if you go through a traditional publishing house and you end up in developmental edit hell, and you do like 7 or 8 rounds of developmental edits, and you do line edits and copy edits and proofreading, technically, because editing and writing is an art and not necessarily a science, there is no ever done. It's just like, oh yeah, this is good. This is really good. So if you ever get professionally edited, just 1 round of edits, and then later on you get another round of edits from somebody else and they point out different things, and you're like, oh, that first editor was trash. No, it's just they focused on different things. They had different taste and preferences of what they thought was or wasn't good. So even if I do find something here, like you could submit this to anyone, every single editor in the world will find different things because they're all different editors. And they all have different styles and preferences. Yeah. So if you ever do get that, I never want you guys to feel like disappointed, like, oh no, it wasn't good enough. I didn't do. No. It's a never-ending thing of work. And 2, it wasn't anything bad from the previous editor. It's just it's an art form. And the same way that if you are a master, amazing, perfect, seriously talented, worldwide famous painter, you as a painter will still learn new things. You are never a perfect master. There's nothing else you need to learn painter. There's there'll always be other painters or new things that you'll learn, because writing is an art. This chapter went from 3,500 words to 1,500 words. You cut some fluff and made it more tight. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. They were like, I'm seriously so excited to see this work here after professional edit. I'm so excited for you to have gotten that edit. I'm so excited to read it. So, enough back and forth. Let's get into it. Chapter 5. Welcome to Cinder. The house sat at the far end of Damon Street, where pavement turned to packed dirt and the street lamps began to thin. Number 374 was small. 1 story, white siding, a porch with 2 clean wooden steps. The light above the door burned steadily, pale against the last wash of sunset. It looked less like a home and more like a display model waiting to be photographed. No dogs, no radios, no wind. Just the faint hiss of cooling metal and a hum in the distance. Too steady for a generator, too smooth for wind. He stepped out, stretching his back. The air carried that chemical crispness of new paint and watered lawns. Somewhere down the block, a sprinkler hissed once, then stopped. You couldn't tell from which yard. A note was taped to the door, the paper perfectly aligned, the tape corners cut square. Detective Grimes, welcome to Cinder. Stop by the station tomorrow morning at 9. We'll get you squared away. Chief S. Black. That makes me think of Sirius Black from Harry Potter. Sorry. Chief S. Black. He brushed his thumb over the ink, still faintly tacky, as if freshly written. The doorknob gleamed, polished to a mirror. Inside, the air smelled faintly of lemon, with something metallic underneath. The lights were already on. He paused in the doorway. No footsteps, no echo, yet the house somehow felt aware of him. The The living room was small, arranged like a catalog photograph. A couch angled toward the television, a coffee table centered with silk flowers, a rug still bearing factory creases. On the kitchen counter, another note waited. Neat, looping penmanship. Courtesy of the Cinder Hospitality Committee, Mayor Langford. Beside it sat a wicker basket wrapped in cellophane. Bread, canned soup, milk, and a brochure declaring the town slogan, Cinder, the best place to live. He peeled back the wrap just enough to grab the bread. The plastic crackled too loudly in the silence. Then came the duffel, the typewriter, the dented ashtray from Detroit. Each sound, zipper, boot heel, the thud of the bag, echoed too loud, like the house was learning his noises. He dropped his keys in the bowl and explored. Bedroom. Bed made, white sheets tucked hospital tight. Bathroom. Spotless. Towels folded, toothbrush waiting in a holder. Everything he could need, provided before he asked. By the time he finished unpacking, the sky had dimmed to the color of cooled iron. He cooked eggs and toast from the basket. The skillet still wore its price tag. He ate standing at the sink, the quiet pressing around him like insulation. A chrome-trimmed radio sat on the counter. When he turned the dial, only one station came through. Soft AM static, then a bright, pleasant voice. Good evening, Cinder citizens. Another perfect day in our perfect town. He turned it off before it finished. The dishes dried quickly in the warm air. He opened the window. The street outside was a thin wash of gold from the lamps. Every house was identical, every porch light in the same spot. A lamppost across the street road flickered once, twice, and steadied. For a moment, he thought someone stood there. No movement, no face. When he blinked, it was gone. He lit a cigarette, leaning against the doorframe. Smoke rose lazily in the still air. The hum returned, faint but constant. Not the fridge, not the truck, not the lines above. It seemed lower, as if it came from the ground itself. When he finally went to bed, he left the window cracked. The sheets were cold and too clean. Beneath him, the hum kept on. Oh! Thank you, Roots. Oh my goodness. Claudia, you scared me. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. That was really funny. Where was I? Steady, patient. Steam fogged the window as dawn spread pale light across the street. Don't make fun of me. Sprinklers ticked in perfect unison, their arcs overlapping like choreography. Grimes stood barefoot in the kitchen, watching the percolator hiss. The sound was small but alive, proof that something in the house still made noise on its own. The hum was still there too, low beneath the floor, steady as his pulse. He drank the coffee, faintly metallic like new pipes. On the table lay Chief Black's notes, edges crisp. Stop by the station tomorrow morning at 9. Main Street unrolled before him. Immaculate storefronts, empty sidewalks, sunlight reflecting in precise rectangles across spotless glass. He parked in the gravel lot of the Cinder Police Department. The hum was gone, or buried underneath the sound of the truck cooling. The chrome letters above the door gleamed like they'd never known dust. Inside, cool air, bleach, and paper. Two dispatchers behind glass looked up together, smiles polished to the same degree. I like Nameplates, Kathy and Frank. Morning, Grimes said. Morning, Detective, she replied. You can go right in. Chief Stephen Black rose from behind an oak desk. Tall, broad-shouldered, early 60s. His handshake was firm and a second too long. I like that too. Detective Lawrence Grimes, he said. Welcome to paradise. Grimes managed a small nod. Appreciate the welcome, Chief. Call me Black. He gestured toward the chair. Heard a lot about you. Jefferson Boulevard. Quite the headline back east. Grimes said nothing. The office walls gleamed with commendations, each plaque engraved presented by Mayor Alice Langford. Quiet town, Black continued. Mostly noise complaints. Some mischief. You'll like it here. Seems like everything runs smoothly. That's the idea. Folks take pride in keeping it that way. He tapped Grimes' transfer letter. Partnership, he said lightly. Means we've got friends in high places. They look after us. We look after them. The phone rang once, sharp and short. Black ignored it. Well, he said, leaning back. Get settled, get a feel for the place. We'll talk shop soon. As Grimes turned to go, Black added, Detective, folks here appreciate when a man fits in. The warmth in his smile didn't reach his eyes. The walk to City Hall took 2 minutes. A mailman on his route, a woman sweeping her porch in slow, deliberate strokes. Each flag hung at the same angle. Every window gleamed. Inside, lemon wax, polished marble, fluorescent suns reflected in the floor. Detective Grimes, the receptionist said, the mayor's expecting you. He hadn't realized she'd known him already. She hears everything, the woman replied, not joking. Mayor Alice Langford's office gleamed with deliberate symmetry. Photos, awards, and a crystal decanter catching the light. Her smile was wide, practiced in warmth. I like that too. Welcome to paradise, she said. The same phrase, new cadence. Grimes shook her hand. Cool, firm. Just met Chief Black. Good man, she said. Dependable. We've all worked hard to make Cinder what it is. You'll see soon enough. She poured coffee, movements rehearsed. People here respect consistency. He studied the wall of photographs. Families, children, ribbon cuttings. Every smile is identical. Every cloud absent. Gracious. I think this is supposed to be was. You'll find peace here, she said. Cinder smooths rough edges. A framed certificate caught his eye. Project B12. Partnership Recognition. Department of Energy, 1961. Our beginning, she said softly. Federal support, community trust, shared belief in the future. Her tone shifted. Still kind, but absolute. People here value harmony. They value peace. You don't smile much, do you? She asked suddenly. Depends what there is to smile about. For a heartbeat, her mask slipped. Then it returned, perfect again. Cinder is a place for new beginnings, she said brightly. My door's always open. The sky burned orange and lavender when Grimes returned to Damon Street. Every porch light glowed, timed perfectly. He parked and sat for a moment. The silence waited. The hum returned, low, steady, like a pulse beneath the tires. Inside, nothing had moved, not even the smell of cleaner. 3 slow knocks at the door. A woman stood there, cautious smile, a dish in her hand. Evening. You must be the new detective? Grimes. Claire Monroe, she said. Next door. Thought you could use dinner. He took the dish. That's kind of you. Claire's fine. Her voice measured every word. You settling in? Still figuring where everything goes. That's half the battle. She declined his invitation to come in. Another night, maybe. I work at the library. You'll see me around. Quiet work, he said. Quiet's how people like it here. Her gaze flickered toward the lamppost, the same one that flickered last night. It held steady now, humming faintly. If you ever need quiet company, she said, the library's open late. Sometimes too late. I'll remember that. Good night, detective. Good night, Claire. She walked away. The porch light flickered once and steadied. He stood with the dish in his hands, the scent of baked potatoes and herbs cutting through the sterile air. It was the first thing in Cinder that felt real. He turned off the kitchen light. Shadows deepened. Corners stretched further than they should. Outside, the street lamp flickered twice, then steadied. He lit a cigarette. The ember glowed in the window's reflection. Something moved behind him, or across the glass. Gone before he could be sure. He opened the door. The night air was sharp. Every porch light burned the same dull yellow. No crickets, no wind. Just silence, perfect and deliberate. He closed the door, leaned against it, and listened. The quiet pressed in like a weight, as though the whole town were holding its breath. He sat on the edge of the bed. The clock ticked evenly. He opened his notebook and wrote. Everyone smiles. No one blinks. He stared until the letters blurred, then shut the notebook, turned the clock face down, and lay back. The silence didn't end. It only deepened. And somewhere out there, beneath all that stillness, the town was waiting. Uh-oh. Cryptid highlighted something. She has something to say. I hope you guys pay attention to what I highlight or don't, because after I'm done, I always forget. Oh my goodness. That's why I love actually writing with pen on paper, and when I actually do critiques in real life, I love actually physically printing stuff out and actually marking with a pen, because then it's really easy for me to mark stuff and leave a little note. But then when I'm reading on the screen, it's a little harder, and then I forget what my notes were. Oh, that was a good sippy. Oh. So let me see here. You're bouncing between is, was, and just being smile identical. Hold on, let me just go back up to that scene. So I think you normally write in past tense because you say things like, she said, gleamed, rather than like gleaming. Her smile was wide. Poured, rather than she was pouring. So I think it's supposed to be past tense. That was the only one that really stood out to me. So let me see here. Where was it? He studied the wall of photographs, families, children, ribbon cuttings. Every smile was identical, every cloud absent. So yeah, I think that is supposed to be was. Now, I always give you guys the caveat. I am not. There's multiple different types of editors. There's developmental, there's line, there's copy, there's proofreading. There's a lot. I definitely lean more towards developmental and like a smidge of line editing. So I'm not the best grammar punctuation, which is like the copy edit. So like if someone ever tells you differently when it comes to grammar than what I said, I would say always trust the other person more. But yeah, every smile was identical, every cloud absent. That to me reads more naturally. But I won't say that as a critique. I always say my if I point out grammar stuff, it's not the full critique because I naturally lean more towards the developmental stuff. So those are kind of the two critiques I try to give instead. Did I miss anything else? Hello, what? It's good to see you. Sorry I didn't say hi earlier. I was in the middle of reading. Actually, this could be chapter 1. It is a really strong intro. You're right, it could be. I think sometimes it's hard to figure out, because Author Relic is right. I have read some of the earlier stuff. Sometimes it is hard to figure out the exact spots, sometimes until you're done with your first draft. And then you can kind of look back and feel like, that stuff's just kind of like backstory. This is a good start and ending, so I wouldn't be fully worried about that stuff. Cryptid, I already read this book. Is 47 chapters. Yeah. It's crazy. You already have all the individual chapters planned out. But no, I'll tell you right away for the positive critique. This is very strong. This is a noticeable like wow. Whatever editor you were working with, really complimented your style. I think they saw what you were trying to do, and you're right. It is tightened. It feels better. It flows better. It doesn't feel like we get too lost in the sauce with all the details and stuff. It feels like a pretty good mixture. I think this really makes the story shine very well, and that your author voice and the style is still very clearly present. So I think that was a great matchup. I think for the only other thing, I'm not sure what type of editing they offered you. So this might not be in the realm of what audits they gave. I would say one, before, remember I said sometimes you had like funny sentences? I didn't notice any funny sentences. That was like really, really good. The book opens in Detroit, stuff happens, transferred, we get more background in chapters 2 and 3. Then chapter 4, we leave Detroit. Chapter 5, we arrive here. Welcome to Cinder. Yeah, and I'd almost wonder if chapters 1 through 4, just being the backstory, it almost feels like a very long prologue. This is a good point of if the story is about Detective Grimes in Cinder, discovering all the crazy shit that happens here in Cinder, in this seemingly perfect, creepy town. Maybe this should be a little closer to the beginning. I should stop highlighting stuff so I don't mess up the document. I've done that on my own documents where I'm highlighting things so fast I accidentally mess up the document. Oh no, don't trust me with shit. Oh, the sippies are so good. Did I do that? Why is it pink? No, okay, I think that's Author Relic. But I highlighted it for you. Good. If anything messes up, you did it. It wasn't Cryptid's fault. So I will say, some of my previous critiques, remember, were funny sentences. Like some of the sentences just ended, or they weren't like complete sentences. They're a little wonky. I think sentence-wise, everything here was really strong. I really liked it. So I think that critique, like this editor has nailed it for you. Like they fixed all that on a sentence level. One of my other old critiques I remember giving you was repeating words, like individual words you tend to sometimes use a lot. So like I can even notice stuff here, like the paper perfectly aligned, the tape corners cut square, and then like here it's just it's even will get you squared away. So both times it mentions like square and squared, and I'm like, oh, that's a little funny one, but I was gonna ignore that. But there was some other stuff too. Let me see. I think silence was another word you repeated a lot. Yeah, quiet and silence. No, wait, don't say quiet. Relax, gonna yell at me. Do you feel it's too short? Being around 1,500 words, I feel like it's short. And yeah, I'm gonna go back once I'm done writing and read the chapters and work with words to see if you can take away those repeated. Nice. Cryptid loves my quiet repeats shit. As soon as Mango mentioned quiet, I'm like, wait, no. Mango, in case you weren't here, I mentioned in a previous thing, Relic submitted, I'm like, there are so many quiets here. And then Relic actually looked up. They like did a little keyword search for how many quiets were used in the whole work, and it was like hundreds, right? It was like hundreds of times you used the word quiet. And so then it became this long-running, not long-running, but it became a joke that author Relic's gonna purposely put in more quiets. They're gonna find every single chance they can to use the word quiet just to piss me off. I'm not actually mad or anything, I just thought it was funny. So I as soon as he said that, I'm like, yeah, he does use quietly a lot. Wait! There's only 6 quiets in this chapter, leave me alone. 6? In 6 pages! This chapter is 6 pages! You did 1 per page! What the heck? Oh my god, that's fucking hilarious. Hold on, I'm taking another sippy. Oh my god, that's so funny. But yeah, quietly, square and squared. There, but you're saying you'll look at that for next time. So yeah, just be aware of it. But otherwise, the sentence level, as far as like not having the funny sentences, improved drastically. This editor got their assignment. Everything here still has your style of sometimes listing things out in very short, like almost military-like thing of just making a series of notes and then continuing with it. They still kept your style, but they fixed any like wonky sentences that sometimes appear. So I think the editor did a great job with that. What was the question you asked? I think you're going to extend this chapter just a bit to get to 2,000 or 2,300 words. It really feels short to me. I'm not sure if you shouldn't really be worrying about like if it's short or not. I think this is another issue of pacing. So you said you tightened this by, I'm going to guess, like getting rid of like repeating stuff, like repeating phrases, a lot of overly explained details and background stuff, right? So you've tightened it, and now I think maybe you're feeling like, oh, the pacing might be a little fast. So let me go here. Let's look at this pacing step by step here. I thought the intro was good. He's seeing this new house. He's reading these notes. I thought this was pretty good. Good evening, sender citizens. So here, so the first page and a half. Not quite finished. A little over page and a half is him just getting to this new house, this new location, unpacking, hearing the radio. You're trying to hit a page count. You know, however many pages or words your story needs. You know, don't be focused on like, oh, a chapter should be this many words. It needs as many words as it needs to be finished and to be good. Sometimes that's a little less, sometimes that's a little more. So let's see, a page and a half for him settling in. And then the next thing is dawn, so then he's waking up. He's then having the coffee, he then rereads the note. And then he goes here. So I honestly think we could get rid of some of here, because the only part of him waking up in the house is him just to reread the note that we already read here, just literally like 1 page before. So I think we could actually get rid of that. We don't need to see him waking up in this new house. But then it's Main Street unrolled before him. Immaculate storefronts, empty sidewalks, sunlight reflecting. That's where you also don't do page breaks, don't like them. And I feel like here, so this stuff, him going through the town, him talking with the Cinder police department. Like here you mentioned there's two of them, but I don't know what either of them looks like. And only one of them, Kathy, actually talks. Does Frank give like a little grunt? Does he purposely avoid eye contact? Is he smiling too? And it's freaky because he's smiling, but he's not saying anything, just watching them. They're for every characters that you mention, this part here could have been longer. So I said like, oh yeah, you could get rid of this waking up in the house thing. This could have been a new thing. Does he need I'm thinking of other jobs. I don't work police jobs, but I've worked other jobs. And I'm thinking like, does he need to do onboarding? Does he need to sign paperwork? Does he need to get this, that, and the other sorted? Does he need a new badge? That, because you know his old badge probably mentions he was a Chicago cop, right? Mentions him there. Here is what was taken out right there. Morning, Grimes says. Morning, detective. The woman answered, already known who he was. A nameplate read K. Holloway. The man's read Frank's. Oh yeah, why does her say K. Holloway and his just says Frank's? You can go right in, she added, nodding towards the door marked Chief Black. Grimes thanked her and pushed through. The hallway smelled faintly of old coffee and furniture polish. The sound of his boots, yeah, in which case, yeah, I think a lot of that could have been cut. I think that was a good cut. Because I'm not talking about, like, stage directions. That just added, like, a lot more unnecessary stuff. I'm talking about, like, characters. And I think we mentioned that before, so you're writing, right? You're very naturally inclined towards writing scenery details, to writing what happens. And sometimes you sometimes have to focus more on writing characters and characterizations. So on both that and what you said was cut, and then what's here in this new edited version. Frank is here. I know nothing about Frank. Is he blonde? Is he a generic dude, bro? Is he smiling creepily while Kathy's answering to Grimes? Is he nodding? Yeah, so you love scenery and world building, and that's so great because that means it comes more naturally to you. But the characters, also have to be focused on. That's what the readers are following along with. They're following along the characters. So if there's Kathy and Frank here, if Frank does nothing and he's a minor character and he never does anything, then Frank could just be cut, in which case then we could describe more about how unsettling Kathy might seem. And this is his first time meeting anyone. This is his first time meeting anyone in the town. He's only gotten notes before. This is his first time actually talking with somebody. So that really, Frank talks later in other chapters though. Okay, so then Frank is important enough, he gets lines. So then what I said, we need some more descriptions of Frank. Is he blonde? Is he smiling creepily without saying anything? Does he mouth a little hello quietly while Kathy's talking? Does he give a little awkward hand wave gesture? Is he older? Does he look like an intern? Does he look like the guy that our detective lost, right? His partner that he lost in chapter 1. I know some people here might not know what I'm talking about, but in chapter 1, like our Detective Grimes lost a partner. Does Frank suddenly look like him, and now it's really awkward and he's trying not to look at Frank because Frank looks young, and the partner he just lost like days or weeks ago was young, and he's trying not to look at this dude who reminds him of his lost partner. So like you need to not just describe scenery, you also need to describe characters in a more natural way. Like, smiles polished to the same degree. Nameplates Kathy and Frank. Morning, Grimes says. Morning, detective, she replied. You can go right in. Does he gesture anywhere? Are there other detectives that he walks by? Normally, like in a bullpen, sometimes you have to walk past the other detectives to get to the main important person, right? Who in this case is Chief Black. Does he have to walk by anyone? Is anyone watching him eerily? But yeah, this is the very first person in all of Cinder he's talking to, so he might even make a note, oh, she sounds artificially cheery. She sounds overly sugar-coated. She's, whatever descriptions you want to do, her gestures seem practiced. And then when he's Cryptid said, what bullshit are you doing? I was giving it as an example. Thank you so much, very decaffeinated. That's very nice. It's good to have someone supporting me while Relic's over here bullying me. But yeah, since your Grimes is very observant, and he's very observant of people, he might notice like, hey, yeah, this Kathy person, she's kind of freaky. Coming for you, Relic. Right, she might be creepy. She seems artificial. She seems fake, and he might brush it off as like, oh, okay, that's what Kathy's like. We reached our subs goal. Oh my goodness, thank you guys. I think that's like a Twitch achievement thing now too. I think we might have unlocked some future emote slots. Am I correct? So if we get 10 subs, I think we can unlock a new emote for everybody. If that is, then I'm super excited to have you guys have a new emote soon. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Frank nodded with a soft morning. Yeah, and that is what he's physically doing. But he doesn't even need to have said anything. Like, yeah, it kind of depends on how you want him to be. Only you know what's going to happen in the future in the story. Oh my god, you were editing live. Getting feedback live. So wait, what was my earlier critique? My critique was the repeating words, and my second critique was the character. You were worrying about pacing. So yeah, I think the pacing could be expanded out a bit by focusing on the characters. Oh, his shirt's messy? That's an interesting detail. We've only read about perfect people here, so if somebody looks a bit messy, that makes them stand out, right? That definitely makes them stand out. That means that almost makes it seem like it's important that this person might be, Frank might be genuine, and Kathy might be one of the artificial, I don't know, Stepford wives or something. Cryptid isn't wrong though? I'm never wrong, except when I'm wrong. Hello, Raymond, good to see you. But what was I saying? But yeah, even stuff like that. So then even, having more descriptions of Grimes, because Grimes is very observant. You've established that before. Grimes is observant. He's making notes of people. Kathy might seem like a fake bitch, and then he just writes her off like, okay, that's Kathy. She seems like a fake bitch receptionist or whatever, right? She seems plasticky, whatever. In Grimes' words, right? Not Cryptid's words. That's Cryptid's way of describing it. And then he's gonna be noticing people with the artificial smile. So he's gonna be like, oh, that's kind of the way that Kathy smiled. And then he's gonna be meeting the mayor, and it's like Kathy to like 100 degrees, and he's like, oh, it's not just Kathy. These people are fucking weird. You know? So he's gonna be making notes about people based off Kathy is a fake bitch. That's right, I said it. Kathy is a fake bitch, and Frank is a blonde himbo. They're both doing their best. See, at least you're writing the notes in here, not me. There, I fixed it. Yeah, you can keep this. This can be go straight to publishing now. That's the only fix you needed. that will be here in the final edit of this book, right there. But yeah, that's my critique. If you wanted the spacing, I say not focus on the background details. I think a lot of your background details and the setting and the environment is really good where it is right now. I would focus more on expanding the characters and really immersing the readers into interacting with these characters, into what the chief is like, into what I think the mayor was pretty good just because she had more dialogue. But even then, you can still add like physical personality traits that characters do, because people do stuff while they're talking. Like right now you have like she poured coffee, the movements are rehearsed. That one was really good. This makes her the strongest character you've written in this chapter. But she can even do stuff like, does she have long nails? Does she tap her nails? Does she tap the keyboard? Mare's a cold lady. Cold lady. Lady she's described as having that venom in her voice. Yeah. See, she's that venomous plasticky bitch. Yeah. See? Does she have the artificial nails? Does she tap on keyboards like this? Does she have rings, and is she like fiddling with her rings? Or does she always stay eerily still when she's doing stuff? Except for like when she's doing these rehearsed movements like pouring coffee. Does she wear heels? A lot of women in politics, right? They still have to wear heels, even though it's kind of old and outdated now. They wear heels, and they wear like the suit skirts and stuff. Does she wear like a corporate blue? Is she like Umbridge in Harry Potter, where she wears pink to show she's toxic? She held his gaze a moment too long. Cinder thrives, she continued, voice silk over cold venom. When we silence those who would divide us. Right? See, yeah. See, so when you do describe characters, you normally focus on the dialogue. Here, the mare feels the most real in this chapter, just because she does have the pouring the coffee, the symmetry in her office, her tone shifted, her mask slipped. She actually has the most details about what she's doing while she's interacting with Grimes. So I figure if you give that same attention to detail to some of the other characters, that's going to make the readers more believable, like make these characters feel more real, and it will also add into your word count. Look at tab 4. Wait, what do you mean tab 4? Oh, okay, now there's tab 4. It wasn't there a second ago, I swear. What is this? What is it? You can go right in, she added, nodding towards the door marked Chief Black. Grimes thanked her and pushed through. The hallway smelled faintly of old coffee and furniture polish. The sounds of his boots against the linoleum carried farther than it should have. Chief Stephen Black looked up from behind a large oak desk. Read that. Welcome to Paradise. Perfect symmetry of every frame. Seems like everything runs pretty smoothly. Let me... This is the same thing. That's the original. Is that what you're talking about? No, let me see here. Let me go back to that scene. His handshake was firm and a second too long. No, I liked that. I think I even highlighted this when I read it. I really liked this one. The handshake being firm and a second too long. Let's see here. The one for the smile didn't reach his eyes. No, I think actually this version had more description for Chief Black, with the warmth in his smile didn't reach his eyes, and with, let's see, oh my god, what was the other one? His handshake was firm, but a second too long. This one actually had more character descriptions for Stephen Black. Let me go back here. In this one, Grimes nodded. Sometimes you mentioned like standing or turning to leave. That's Grimes though. No, I think that edit was good. It mostly just gets rid of stuff like Grimes said nothing, or gesturing toward a chair. Like some of those small little things could have been maybe kept, but it wouldn't have made a huge impact. These ones here, that I highlighted, the warmth not reaching his eyes and the handshake. Those are really good descriptions for S. Black. I'm always gonna think in my head he's Sirius Black. I'm so sorry, it's just because of the initials. It's because I'm trash. Let's see. I feel like you're not quite understanding what I'm saying here. That's the non-edited version that adds a bit more. Yeah, it adds a bit more, but not like you said, it adds a bit more just like the fluff, the padding. I'm talking about like purposeful, deliberate character descriptions, things that make the scene pace out a little bit more, but they're intended, they are important to the characters. You know what I mean? Like they are distinct references to how these characters act, not just generic like, oh, he stood up, he sat down, he's silent for a minute. Like not those like fluff pieces. Okay, you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So like even just Black ignoring the phone, right? That's a really good like character description here, that he ignores the phone. Warmth didn't quite reach his eyes. I'm even wondering, like, when we close the door, then does Black reach for the phone? Or like does he, even when we close the door to his office, is the phone still ringing? Yeah, describe the character a bit more so the reader has more of a vision of who he is. Yeah, and it can be spread like casually. Like you don't want to just do like an info dump of what the character is like. It can be spread casually throughout the scene. Hold on, my mouse is all funky. It's getting all garbled up. Okay. What? 2? What's it? Oh, I'm behind on chat. Can you submit my chapter 2? I wonder would I expand a little bit before doing a time skip. Yeah, you can submit as the only rules is no spicy stuff, no smut stuff. But otherwise, yeah, please feel free to submit. And we can take a little moment after Cryptid is done with her feedback to see where her energy is at. What a nice idea, viewer story reading. Hello! Yes. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, this is story time. We're all, I have a little, ooh, my mic. I'm so sorry, that was a bad noise. Yes, I for all of November, I was writing my shitty rough draft live on stream for you guys, and while I'm going through that editing process, I have all my lovely raccoons here. They can submit their writing to the Discord. The only thing I ask is no spicy, smutty stuff, because I get embarrassed reading that live on stream. But then, it's a really nice welcoming place here. We're all nice, and I read it live, and I give 1 or 2 pieces of critique, and I also mention if any particular things I think you did really, really well, too, because sometimes we learn more about our writing when we learn the stuff we do well. But yeah, I try just to limit it to 2 pieces of critique so it doesn't overwhelm anybody. And it's 2 pieces of critique set that I think would be the most important to bring your writing up to the next level. And I can do that throughout the book too, so your slow burn pays off at a more slower pace. I don't like giving everything out at once, but I'll see what I can do. Sometimes when you save a certain description for way later on about a character, it can be jarring for the reader. Like let's say like we meet, oh my god, what was the character? Wait, I'm going back. Oh no, I'm going down. Let's see here. Frank. Right, Kathy and Frank. And then we have Frank, his shirt messy, that looked to be a little coffee stain. And we hear about Frank. And then chapter 6, we hear Frank again, and he has he looks even more messy. His pants aren't ironed, all the different stuff. And then chapter 18, right, we briefly see Frank again. He looks a little sloppy. He looks like he's hiding. He's like quickly eating a donut. He's getting like donut sprinkles on his shirt, like whatever. And then chapter 22, we hear Frank speak again, and you casually mention he has an Irish accent. And then we're like, wait, what? Like, wait a second. I was going through chapters like 5 through 21 and a half, having Frank speak a certain way in my head, only for me as a reader to be like, wait, he had an Irish accent the whole time? Yeah, wait a second. So putting details about a character earlier on, that way it doesn't take the readers out of the experience, because now they have to reorganize how they think of that character in their head.
How often do you do this? I try to do it whenever there's enough story times. So yeah, you can always submit it whenever, and whenever some story times pile up, then I'll do another story time sesh. But I don't. Sometimes I did it like every single day during November. There were some days I did like back to back, and it was just part of the stream. Sometimes I do it and it's the whole stream, like today. It's typically, I think right now I haven't gone longer than a week without doing story time, right? Would it be cool if people send in weekly short stories to see which is best? Yeah, it's not even like a which is best. If you send in stuff weekly, as long as it's not like smut or anything, then yeah, I'll read that for story time, and I'll always give feedback and critique on each one. That's fine. When we see Frank get some more time on page, he didn't tell anyone he was leaving. Didn't say where. Steps slow, controlled. He passed the dispatch window. Frank gave a polite nod without making eye contact. Rook lingered near the hallway, pretending to go through a file drawer she didn't need anything from. Her eyes flickered toward him once, wide, guilty, almost pleading, then away, jaw clenched. Okay. So that's about Rook. Who's leaving? Chapter 13. Okay, I'm not quite sure if that's bad. But you know what I mean, like, making however strong you need the characters to be as naturally as you can earlier on is always better. We typically don't want to be learning new basic stuff about a character later on. And you know that obviously that doesn't include like a plot twist, like the character was secretly evil. I'm saying basic stuff, like what the don't mention the character's blonde the 5th time you introduce him, because when we first meet him, like the readers might already seen he's a brunette. So if it's something and this is a recurring character and it's important, mention it earlier, because then it's an established character, and then we'll learn like other little details about them as it goes on. You got you. Yeah. And again, you're still like figuring this all out. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time. What was I saying? But yeah. Boris, is that how you say the end of it? Boris? You can absolutely send in stuff weekly. That's fine. There's not like a limit. Lorda, the reason why I'm much more candid and I go into deeper stuff with Relic has submitted multiple things and submitted multiple longer pieces for us even. To the point he actually gave us access to the first 5 chapters of one of his already published books. And I got to read that live on stream for all you guys, right? And I just did a chapter a day of that. Not a chapter a day, but a chapter stream. You think you can explain more of a character if it's like introduction related to another character? Like comparing 2 characters? And that's kind of even what happened here, right? Kathy and Frank are together. Kathy seems very smiley and creepy, right? And then Frank's the sloppy one. Frank has his messy shirt. He has coffee stains. I'm gonna guess Kathy is the stereotypical like creepy people of this town where they seem too perfect. I'm wondering if she even has like too bright smile, like her teeth look whitened. They look perfectly straight. Frank's over there. He has like food stuck in his teeth. You know, that kind of stuff. Like when you compare 2 characters when they're introduced together, sometimes it's just easier to note the differences between them. Like a flashback, 2 birds, 1 stone. Yes. It's a nice little cheat. Let's throw that in my chat. Alright, so I think that was my 2 bits for Author Relic. And Author Relic, I'm always so happy when you submit stuff to stream. I know you're a more long time person. You submitted more stuff here, so I can be a little bit more candid. I can be a little bit more detailed with your writing because we've gone over other stuff before, so now I can get more into the nitty gritty. But I never want you to think that I'm like targeting you specifically. I'm doing it because like you're a more long time submitter, and I can go into those details with you. And thank you again always for submitting your story time and being brave and letting all us little raccoons give our little feedback on that. And actually taking what feedback I have and actually thinking it matters. So let me see here. I think I open up the Discord here. Let's see. So we did Will's Chapter 1 with Wonderland. Author Relic with Cinder. Mango, are you still in chat? Because I always want to make sure you guys are here for your chat. I'm gonna send you like all 28 chapters. I had to get your feedback. You're here. Good. Okay, are you gonna be up? Do you want us to cover yours right now? I asked feedback, and people are like, oh no, I'm about to go to sleep actually. I'll go ahead and get it set up. Rough draft. Visit site. It's gonna be Hold on. This. I'm gonna need to watch the vlog to hear all the stories. That's so nice. And again, there is the Discord, so even if you have feedback, like if you have feedback and stuff that you would suggest to other writers, as long as it's polite, you can always leave it in the Discord. I always say my raccoons can give each other feedback. It doesn't just have to be me, because I don't know everything. Sometimes you guys have different ideas or different critiques instead, or different things you like. So you guys can like help each other more. Because your book is currently being written. After Cryptid reviews my chapters, you do delete access to the document. You're very private with your work. Yeah, you're a professional. And I suggest that too. If anyone's ever worried about stuff like that, please feel free to whatever way you need to share your work, that it's safe. Please do that. I never download stuff. I never do anything that to your work. I only ever access it for a stream. And then I don't look at it again unless you resubmit something. So if you ever do need to like close off access to your work after stream, that's totally fine. Can I do this in dark mode? So I think now if I go here, hold on. I'm doing tech support. I'm dodging. I'm weaving. Hold on. And I go here to docs and rough draft. There we go. Now it's in dark mode. Okay. I did it. I'm a master hacker. Okay, and all my stuff is up. Copyright notice to protect yourself and your work. Advice. Nice. See, Author Relic. He is a published author. Self-published here. He's worked on a couple stuff. So yeah, I really do actually like some of the way he formats stuff and has some of the legal protections in place. It is very, very cool. So Mango is, I think this one's yours. It's called Rough Draft LSD. First line is Daniel. So I hope I'm looking at the right thing. I'm gonna take a sippy before I start reading. How long is this? Is 9 pages. I might stop at a break when it's at like anywhere between 3 and 5 pages, if there's a good stopping point. Hold on. Okay. Hopefully that's okay. But otherwise, here is what I'm guessing is chapter 1. Did they say? Daniel, what do you want to be when you grow up? Most kids would say an astronaut or an athlete, maybe an actor or musician. A job that makes you money, something that'll make you famous, even help make the world better. With that in mind, I wanted to be a Pokemon trainer. When we had career day at my elementary school, I had my chance to confidently give my answer. Following career day, my kindergarten teacher would always come up to ask me about Pokemon teasingly, even if she wasn't familiar with the latest names. I didn't mind. I made it no secret that I loved video games. All I needed was my handheld DS during recess, lunch, and after school. Following a short break, I would continue after dinner and until late hours of the night. There was no limit for my obsession. Obsession was normal. But what else? My exasperated elementary school teacher would plead. Is there anything else you want? Anything? She wanted a different answer out of me. Perhaps a doctor or some better realistic occupation. Since you don't have Discord, I was curious. I do have an official Cryptid Roots email. It's just cryptidroots@gmail.com. If you could send me a link there and just say storytime submission as the title, as the email title, and then say like what your username is. That you're Lorenzo, Lorenzo DeBoss. And it's submitted for storytime critique. That's how you would do it. That's fine. Perhaps a doctor or some better, realistic occupation. I thought for a moment. AC. I want to be able to leave the AC on during winter. With that, she left me with a sigh. There's a fire type? That's a fire type? Sasha looked back at me blankly. Yes, it means that Charizard takes 2 times damage from Blastoise. Come on. Did I freeze? Oh no. Was it me? Is there any more issues with Twitch chat? Was it just my model? Oh, you're good. Okay. It means Charizard takes 2 times damage from Blastoise. Come on. I sighed, flipping the cards over. Sasha and I continued the one-sided battle. Clearly, one of us didn't know the rules. I looked at a ragtag team of starter Pokemon compared to my curated collection. I could just make up any of the rules, and she would believe me at this point. Maybe we should take a break. Do you have any toys? Sasha's eyes lit up. She motioned for me to follow her to the backyard. In the backyard were several small clay pots. Adorning the trees were wind chimes that sang harmonious notes in the breeze. The noises meshed together in an enchanting melody, a dreamlike arrangement. In the clay pots were small crystals. Red, magenta, light blue, forest green. Each crystal was unique in their structure. Some were poignant and others were more rounded. That's supposed to be pointed and others were more rounded? Sasha pointed to the green crystal. That's your favorite? I asked. She nodded. The crystals were kinda cool. I could see why someone would like it. I'll still stick to Pokemon though. I think your collection's nice. Maybe one day I'll show you the rest of my cards at home. I'm not into Sasha. My friends begged me for details about the playdate. I stretched my wrist and focused on the more important tasks at hand, like what I would do to beat the Elite Four after school. One of my friends persisted. Why not? I think you'd be a good couple. Yeah, she's got that stupid stare, you know? Like this. While making a face, I caught a glance at Sasha. She wasn't looking, but hadn't budged from her seat. For a moment there, I thought if I should have moved, said something. I went to follow my friends out for dodgeball. That's good. Sasha. That's such a silly dream, I reply. Pokemon trainers aren't a real occupation. Oh, really? Tell me what you want to be when you grow up, Daniel says. Leo had suggested playing a cooperative climbing game for a change of pace from our usual FPS routine. We're currently 100 feet from the top of the mountain. Leo's rope snakes its way down the edge of the cliff. My character grabs it and tugs herself upward. What? I couldn't catch that. What? Daniel asks again. The president. Leo can't stop himself from letting out a laugh. Daniel's snickering behind the mic. Why would you choose the commander-in-chief out of everything? Daniel asked. I feel I do a good job. Make things right. You don't think so? I quit. Maybe. I'd give you a vote, at least, Leo murmurs. What about you? I ask. Daniel points to himself in the game. Do you think you'd be a good Pokemon trainer? After a long pause, Daniel shifts his feet. I'm not particularly sure, he admits. You? Out of all the things I expected to hear over the years, definitely not that. We're almost at the peak. I can see the flag fluttering in the wind, marking the end of our journey. If I knew my rival would beat the Elite Four and could stay champion, I'd be okay with that. I stopped moving. I mean, don't you think it's sad? Daniel rambles on. Your childhood friend finally gets to accomplish his goal and you just take it away from him? But what about your goals? I ask. Don't you want to achieve your goals? Not if it means trampling on the dreams of others. I don't agree. Maybe that's why you haven't achieved anything, Daniel. Oh, shit! Everyone's dead. On my team, there's no one else left alive. The score is tied at 7-7. Still playing my favorite agent, Frost. Using the self-heal ability, I restore myself to half health. I cautiously peer around the corner. To my luck, there's a clueless enemy looking away. Lining up a headshot, and easy kill. The enemy drops to the floor, but it's not long before I hear others make footsteps towards me. I reposition myself behind cover. Multiple steps. My hands are getting a little clammy. A little shaky breath behind my screen. The words kept echoing in my head. She's got that stupid stare, you know? I think your collection's nice. I think you'd be a good couple. Daniel's nicer as a concept than a person. I count to 3 and open fire from behind the boxes I'm hiding at. The bodies collapse in a line. I empty my machine gun's magazine, earning myself 3 more kills. I reload. Last one standing. Where is he? Within a fraction of a second, I hear a bullet whiz by. From the left. It's like my arm moved on its own. Just like the aim training scenarios I practice day in, day out. My mouse glides across my desk with one smooth, icy click. The enemy falls to their knees, the kill banner decorating my screen. Round 1. All 5 died. My first ace. My team screams in excitement, but they're not as loud as my own. I'm still in shock as the screen resets to the loadout screen for the next round. Sasha! My mom yells from downstairs. Yikes. Leo Mills. I straighten up in my seat. Mr. Haggerty adjusts his checkered blue and gray tie. He wears a collared shirt and khakis with dress shoes like usual. He has this piercing stare, what my dad used to give me before I would get grounded for weeks. Only this time, it's my English teacher dropping my government name and scolding me. I nod. I'm not exactly sure what to say. Putting on my usual despondent face, I prepare myself for a long lecture. I shift uncomfortably in my chair. The security cameras caught you. His lips grimly enunciate each syllable like a death sentence. I don't know if you thought having a substitute teacher for the day would let you get away with beating your friend repeatedly, but we noticed. Grayson is one of my classmates at best. More like a personal demon, not a friend. He made fun of me. I was wrong, though. I'll take full responsibility. I force back a smirk as I remember how Grayson's eyes widened after a clean hit to the temple. I didn't stop. I struck him over and over. I'm less angry at what he said about my dad. That's not the worst of it. The worst is how I feel like the world is overflowing with brackish water. People tugging at my very being. I'm not floating, not swimming, just drowning. I liked pulling Grayson down into that ocean. I barely remember how Grayson provoked me. Maybe it was just resentment over the years of being slapped, pushed around, and poked by him. I never allowed myself to fight back, but at least no one's here to tell me what's right or wrong anymore. Grayson told me you two were playing a game. Punchies. We take turns hitting each other until one cries uncle. It looked more like you were the only one with a turn. I shrug. Mr. Haggerty adjusts in his seat and studies me. Mr. Haggerty's classes are always popular. His booming voice, assigned readings, and book reports are never a chore to me. From the moment I stepped into the classroom filled with posted book reports, quotes from famous writers, and of course, the poetry adorned with flowerful poems, I knew I would love learning from him. Our talks during recess or office hours about our favorite authors, possible meanings behind motifs, and hopes of making a creative writing club flashed through my mind. Leo, member of the student council, honor roll every year, Mr. Haggerty flatly states. I try not to roll my eyes. And now, just a screw up, ready for disciplinary action, I reply. Would you say you made a mistake? This isn't like you. I would say it's not something I can take back at this point. Can't sweep everything under the rug with an apology. Grayson certainly will remember, but I'll take any punishment I deserve. A long pause of silence. Mr. Haggerty swallows hard as he taps his chin. I know your father wouldn't have wanted to see this. I bite down hard. This stings. I didn't expect him to treat me like a fucking stranger. Sterile words, gazes of pity, and infuriatingly empty stares. Funny how invincible I am to the faculty when I get slapped or shoved by Grayson. At the moment it's a family issue, I'm just troubled and in need of adult support. Trusted adult. Yeah, right. Before I can find the choice words to storm out, Mr. Haggerty's expression softens. He takes out one of his many ballpoint pens from his shirt pocket and scribbles on a note with blue ink. I'm shocked to see tears moisten his eyes. I worry about you fondly, Leo. You're my favorite student. I want to read more of your book. I'm left speechless as I try to decipher these words. You can do a million things right, but the higher you climb, all it takes is one mistake. That's all that people will remember. He hands me a note to take to my teacher. At those parting words, Mr. Haggerty exits. I'm in shambles. I take a shaky breath before I walk out of the empty classroom to PE.
Oh my goodness, and that was from Mango here in chat. Thank you so much, Mango. Hold on, taking a really big stretch. My model's gonna glitch out. Oh. I think I'm behind on chat again. Let me see here. Cryptid has good voices. Cryptid tries her best, though. Is this a fan fiction? Thanks for sharing all. Yes, thank you. Oh, everyone, so much for being such brave raccoons and sharing your work here for all of us to improve and learn from each other. It's a really big, scary step, and I really appreciate it. From writing my really shitty rough draft live on stream, right? It's scary showing your stuff on a live stream, right, to other people. But so I really appreciate how brave it is to share your stuff here for critique. You started out on Wattpad, but this is original characters. Nice. Be very careful with Pokemon IP. Nintendo is notorious for being a jerk and sending out warnings about using their IPs. You just wrote this for fun. Yeah, and it's so technically, if you think of certain works like oh my god, what's the really big one right now? Ready Player One, isn't that one? They have a lot of references to
other games and other franchises. Even oh my god, what did Disney do? What was the movie a while ago? Wreck-It Ralph has a lot of references to other IPs and characters and stuff. It is technically possible. It is plausible that if you, I know you're saying you just wrote this for fun. I'm just giving this out there for other people, that you can write works featuring stuff from other IPs. It's just that whatever publishing agents and stuff would just need to figure that out legally. But it's absolutely possible that stuff does happen. There's even, like, you see stuff like the official and the unofficial cookbooks inspired by franchises. Like, have you guys seen like the cookbooks inspired by Nightmare Before Christmas, or the cookbooks inspired by the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, right? Some of those were official, some of those were not official, right? But they still got published. So does Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Yes. That one was a huge thing with how much they had to make all those different things cooperate. And I think they had to do like some crazy contracts and stuff too. Like some of the characters had to have equal screen time. That way it wasn't like biased towards one film studio compared to the other. So that stuff is absolutely plausible. I don't want you to ever believe like it just because you wrote fan fiction that's not plausible. And some stuff even then does become canon. Like you look at the wildly successful and cult favorite Hannibal TV series, the Hannibal TV show, based off the books and the other franchise, right? That's just it is 100%, it is 120% gay fan fiction of Hannibal the Cannibal. and Will Graham, because they didn't have the rights to use Clarice, so Will Graham fit a lot of those roles instead. And it's just gay fan fiction. Gay cannibal murder husband's fan fiction of Hannibal the Cannibal. You can absolutely do official. Every single Sherlock adaptation, right, is fan fiction of Sherlock that they just get the rights to. Every time they do a new Legends of Arthur, that's just a new fan fiction, right? So just because stuff is fan fiction or based off of it, you still can absolutely pursue getting that done as official stuff. It's a little bit harder, but it absolutely can be done. I'm really behind in chat now. Let me catch up. Lorenzo was in a bit of copyright drama once. Lorenzo! You are my raccoon who gets in all these little fights and dramas. Oh my goodness. He posted a short story with a character named Astarion. I don't know how you say the character's name. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast wasn't happy. WOTC is Wizards of the Coast. Sadly, Roger Rabbit isn't known for crossovers anymore, right? Just so everyone knows, you posted a copyright template in the writing tab for people to use. It's the same one to use in case anyone needs it. Author Relic, that was so nice. Thank you for doing that. That's a great resource. I meant what is like a show, book, or game. Okay, yeah. Okay, I currently own Magic the Gathering, D&D, etc. Yeah, and there's like, they're on and off and all sorts of different drama too. Cryptid, I sent you the 28 chapters written if you want to read some and give me feedback off stream. I'd love to do that in the future, Relic. Give me some time, I'm still recovering, but yeah, I'd absolutely love to do that. That's great. Astarion, I think that's how you say it, because it's like a star. Astarion is the name of a character in Baldur's Gate 3. They own Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, okay. I think I'm all caught up in chat now. But, Mango, thank you so much. I really, so again, we say things that we like, if I notice anything that's really, really strong in the writing, and then we only limit it to two critiques. I will say the characters are really strong. You have very strong characters. The characters are the strongest part here. The characters' voices are very, very strong. So I like the way they talk with each other. I like the conversations they have are very realistic. The stuff they're talking about, the little dramas and the stuff they do with each other. Even feeling awkward, like realizing he said something mean in front of Sasha, but being too awkward, he just continues with his friends to dodgeball. Very, very accurate Yes, characters are my strength and right. I'm glad you know that, because that it is very clear that it's one of your strongest suits here in the writing. The characters are very alive. Hold on. Dana snicker behind the mic. I think so. Right now, it's split up into just the point of views of the characters. I think what threw me off right away is all of this is from Daniel's and at one particular timeline. But when it switched to Sasha, it didn't just switch to Sasha. I think the Cryptid music is slightly louder. Oh, let me see here. Can lower it like that. How's that? Is that a little bit better? Is that a little bit better? I'm talking about. You didn't know Baldur's Gate was and kids are mean. They are mean. Kids are very direct mean. Some kids aren't. Some kids do learn sarcasm earlier. Me and Roots are examples. We are kids who knew sarcasm very, very early. And that threw off adults a lot. Most kids don't understand sarcasm. Most kids are very direct, blunt, mean. And they will, to quote the John Mulaney bit, they will absolutely accurately find the one thing you're sensitive about. And if it's something you aren't sensitive about, a young kid will make fun of you in that particular thing in a way that now you're sensitive about it. Absolutely 100%. You definitely grasped how kids act and talk around each other. What was I saying? So yeah, the characters are strong. The dialogue, the way they're acting, the way things are happening was very, very strong for kids. And I think even for people who write characters well, sometimes kids are very hard to write. People struggle to get that personality, that environment, that mood of kids. I think you got the feeling of how kids interact with each other absolutely right. That was the vibe. I kind of clocked it right away. Even if I didn't have the elementary school bit, if I had literally just started reading from here about the way they were talking about Pokemon and explaining things and hanging out with the different crystals in the pots, I still would have picked up that they were kids in the age range. That was very noticeable. You were saying the switch to Sasha also seems like a time skip. Thank you. Yes. So I think that was my positives. The critique was, it threw me off a little bit because I think you might have even heard in my voice, I was continuing as if they were still in elementary school. But now it sounds like they're actually older and playing Peak, so it's been a time skip. And I realized that a few lines in, I'm like, oh wait, there's time skip here. They're older. And I wasn't sure about it at first. I'm like, maybe they're just kids who are also playing Peak. And then it wasn't until they were playing a first-person shooter here that I'm like, no, okay, I think it's definitely a time skip. I think they're definitely older now. And she's still thinking about some of the stupid shit these guy friends of hers said when they were in elementary school, which is absolutely accurate. When you are accidentally mean to somebody, even if you don't mean to be, that stuff can still stay with you for a while. 100%. But yeah, I think here that they also are older. And then I'm not sure, maybe first one was elementary school. This could be late middle school, early high school. And then Leo has a very distinct voice again. I really liked his voice here. This was, I think, one of the strongest sections as far as voice. But I'm getting the feeling here he might be high school. The student council, honor roll. He's having that like teenage rebellion, I think. So I think there might be at least one time skip here, if not two. Like there's a time skip with every perspective. But there's definitely, I think, at least one time skip here. But it reads a little unclear. So I almost wish that when it did change perspectives, it said like Daniel, and maybe like a year. Like you could do like, oh yeah, 1996 or whatever, right? And then when it switched to Sasha, 1996, it could have been like 2001. Like, well, no, when did Pete come out? Wait. Ignore my exact dates, but yeah, you get, yeah, that's good. Like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could just be Sasha, and then underneath it the year, just to help the readers not have that little drawing experience of like, oh wait, something's different here. These don't sound like little elementary school kids anymore, because your tone is very good and let the readers know there is a shift. But because we didn't have the warning there would be a shift, it's still jarring. So I think if we just had that year, everything then would flow really smoothly, because you do change the characters' voices as they age up. So it is noticeable. So I would say that time skip clarity is my first critique. Sorry if this is dizzying because I'm scrolling up and down a lot. My second critique, the one I think would be make this the strongest. What do I think would be the next strongest thing? I think you can decide this is a valid enough for your critique or not. I felt like sometimes the tenses got a little bit mixed up. Let me see if I can find a way that showed it really well. When we had career day, this could be classified as a flashback, so maybe not there. Would plead, she wanted, that's all past tense. That she left me with a sigh, looked back at me blankly, continued the one-sided battle. Most of us. I feel like so. At the beginning, it's Sasha also clocks Daniel. I loved your reaction. Oh yeah, when she's mean to Daniel here. Oh my god, that was fantastic. That was such a savage comeback. That was great. And I feel like it also makes sense too, because they normally play first-person shooters, but they are doing this co-op game. They're all doing this sometimes when you're playing, especially when you're like the girl and you're playing with a bunch of guys. You do have to give those little you do those shots fired, quote unquote. You do those shots fired to keep fuckers in line, to keep those egos down. I was like, yeah, oh my god, damn. So it definitely felt like it was the savage like thing. Was the game Sasha playing Siege? Cryptid swears all the time. Why are you acting all shocked, Author Relic? I'm a grown-up. I've paid taxes for years. I yell at kids to get off my lawn. I can curse if I want to. Lord knows I curse enough at my cats. Oh my god. I cursed at our poodly brother bear earlier today because he has these. He's a really big standard poodle. So he's not the little toy poodles. He's bigger than most children. He's a big dog. Big dog. He's a big boy. Oh my god, that dog took his claws and put all his poodly weight on one foot, on one claw, directly on just to one of my toes. Full weight. And then stayed there and wouldn't move it. And when he doesn't want to move, you cannot move that poodle. Oh my god, it hurt. It hurt. Thank you for reading, Cryptid. Thank you so much for submitting. Sorry, I got sidetracked there. The game is modeled after CS:GO. Oh. So we go from Pokemon to first-person shooter. What I thought might have been Peak. Because it's a cooperative climbing game. And they're at the top of the mountain. So yeah, I feel like it's very much like it has some of the things that people like with like Ready Player One. It has a lot of those different games as these kids are growing up. I feel like you could specify specific years that this is happening in, and it would feel very lived in, it would feel very real. But yeah, my second critique, sorry, before I got sidetracked, was I thought sometimes the tense that you were writing it, sometimes it was in past tense. Sometimes it was in present tense. So then it goes back to past tense again. And it wasn't like in a particular, like, oh, in the old one it was past tense, and then it's a time skip and it's present tense, and then the other time skip it's past tense again. It was like within one time period and point of view, since it would switch between past and present tense. So like here, it's like past, because I stretched, my friends begged, like all those things are in the, what do I do to beat the loop 4? I thought if I should have moved, said that this is like looking back a little bit. So this is like from future tense looking back. Sometimes the tensing was just a little off. I feel like if you can nail down the exact tense you want, whether or not it's in past tense or present tense, aside from my rambling earlier, that will then make this an overall like solid piece to read. And then so the clarity with the time, and then just nailing down what tense, past, present, or future tense you were trying to write in. That nails it. That suddenly becomes a very concrete form of writing. It becomes very reliable. It seems very polished. I think that's going to be the two pieces of advice that really are going to do the biggest service to your writing here. But overall, I think you mentioned you started this as like a little fan fiction thing, but it was original characters. But no, I think this, I wouldn't have even pegged this as fan fiction. This reads fun. This reads like kids growing up and dealing with all their relationships and stuff happening in their life with the backdrop of what games they are playing with each other, and how they're growing up, and as that time changes, the games change. I thought it was a really good piece. I wouldn't even consider this as fan fiction unless something happens later I'm not aware of. I thought it was a really strong thing. I want to, if you're showing this to other people, you're trying to submit this to writing competitions or writing stories and stuff. Not that you have to, I'm just saying if you did. I won't even mention that it was originally like fan fiction stuff. It doesn't need to be, just because it mentions Pokemon that the kids are playing. Again, plenty of licensed work, plenty of official licensed work that we can pick up, mention stuff that's IP without necessarily being fan fiction, right? Like I said, like Ready Player One does that a lot. Wreck-It Ralph does it. Somebody Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? Merges the different IPs. This could be a really cool piece about these kids growing up and all this shit that they're going through, and these really strong, very different voices they have and their different experiences. In the background is just the games they're playing. I think it's a really well done piece so far. If you wanted to in the future, I think this cuts off. I'm not sure if you just cut it off for me. Oh, thank you so much for the sub. That's very nice of you. Thank you so much for subbing. I always appreciate it. I'm just a little VTuber. We're slowly growing over time. But I think you cut it off right here. I'm not sure if that's just where you finished writing or if you cut it off for the story's time submission. But in the future, I think if you want to do the full submit, if you have more here, if there is more, I highly encourage you. You get to be a sub raccoon. You get special animated emotes. Check out your little animated emotes. You get some Mothman animated emotes for being part of the Cryptid cult. Thank you so much. Your wife got you sick, Relic? Oh no, that's what happens when you're a good husband. When you're a good partner, whenever your partner's sick, you'll eventually get sick too. It's because you guys share cooties. Everyone, Author Relic has cooties. Author Relic's got cooties. Thank you so much for the subs, guys. I always appreciate it. I always feel like a little like bad. I'm like, oh, shouldn't I be offering better content if you guys are subbing? I'm just gonna do my best though. But yeah, if you have more of this work, I would love to see you submit more of it in the chat if you feel comfortable with it. Because I think it is a really strong piece if you do some of those changes. Thank you so much, Mango, for being a brave raccoon and submitting your story for story time. Let me get out of this. What time is it? It is, oh, it's only 12:18. It's not too late. I'm pretty okay. Well, you guys won't be able to see it, but I'm looking at the Discord right now. We have what did another submission to? Oh my god, mouse, please work. Hold on, my mouse is broken. Let's open this. Okay. Yeah, my mouse is spazzing out. That's so funny. So I can do that, and then I'll go here. I'm trying to show the docs in
dark mode. That way it's a little bit easier on your guys' eyes. Oh. Hello, what? Okay, you are here. Good. Was everyone adding what to make sure they were still here? Oh, that's so nice of you guys. You guys are such good raccoons. It's time for a Cryptid to read more of Relic stuff. I just read some of your stuff earlier. What are you talking about? You're such a greedy raccoon. I finally named it the Forgotten Prince. Oh, that sounds interesting. I like that title. I like that. That's cool. I like it. Hold on, I hear Roots in the other room. Hey, Roots, what's up? Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That's really big. You like the name? Yeah. It's never enough. Ah, the Relic. You're so greedy. I'm excited to read some more of your work, though. And then, hey, if you have any feedback on what your experience was with working with that editor, please feel free to let other people in the Discord know. I think that would be really exciting for some people, because I know not everyone's looking to be indie published or self-published or even traditionally published, but I know sometimes people are interested in what that relationship, what that feedback is like with actual editors rather than just your cryptid blue booba person on the screen giving you one or two critiques. So I think if you have any feedback on what that was like, on what that experience was like, that would be a really cool place to share it for other people who are interested in. Chapter 1's still the same mostly, it just broke up the other plot points into other chapters. If anyone has questions, don't ask. Just kidding, I'm glad to answer questions. Oh my god, people keep mentioning in chat that I should be a teacher. And that was my intended career path for a while, just to make money while I was... My dream when I was a younger cryptid was to be the author, and I was going to go to college for an English degree in creative writing. And I was just going to be an English teacher to pay the bills. With that teacher side, that American teacher salary. I was going to pay the bills until I was a world famous author. Yeah, right, that teacher salary was going to pay the bills. People kept mentioning that, and I was just gonna do it. And then as I grew older and older, I'm like, I can be, and I can talk, and I can educate stuff very well when it's like an indie thing. When I'm like here on screen talking with you guys. Why? Because if anyone does act up, none of you guys have. You guys are wonderful raccoons. I'm just saying technically. If anyone acts up, right, I can like block people. I can ban people. I can even put you guys on like a 10-minute timeout, right? It's not like I have to, like I'm not under gunpoint, I'm not under contract to keep teaching you guys English. We can hang out. I can curse a little bit. And yeah, it's like a little funny jokey thing in the chat if I say fuck. But like it's fine. I'm not gonna get in trouble. I'm my own boss here. I'm my own cryptid in charge here. When you deal with stuff like actual like K through 12 teaching, I would go crazy. I would go insane. I couldn't ever do it. I'd lose my mind. I would, don't say that. You owe the swear jar 25 cents. Oh dear God, if I had to pay the swear jar every time I swore, I promise you I owe it a lot more than 25 cents. I owe it a lot more than 25 cents. I owe it more than I have in my bank account. I owe it a lot of money. Like I said, we're a very wholesome channel, but I do treat you guys, I don't know if you guys are adults or not, but I always assume you guys are... Oh, thank you for the follow and welcome to Cryptid Cult! But I always assume you guys are old enough to be on the internet, in a chat. I'm gonna treat you like you're old enough to be hanging out with an adult on your screen. This is... we had to be mature enough to swear and not use it excessively, right? I do swear, but I'm not ever gonna swear at you guys. I'm never gonna bully you guys, right? I don't know, it makes sense in my head. My middle school teacher cussed in front of us, and all of us were appalled. Oh my goodness. Oh.
wholesome channel vibes with crazy swears like fuck or cryptid at times. Yeah, at 12:30 a.m. Hey, I can't hear you guys. You guys can hear me, but I can't hear you guys. So if you guys need to scream a really loud swear word to get it out of your system, please feel free. It doesn't bother me none. I can't hear you. What is the internet? This is a portal. That's right. This is my cryptid portal. From outside the abandoned 811, where me and Roots have cobbled this all together. That's 50 cents owed to the jar. You fool, raccoons don't own jars. That just blocks them from their food. Happy raccoon noises. Thank you so much, Mango, for joining the Cryptid Cult earlier. I think I forgot to say that, but yes, welcome to Cryptid Cult. Oh. Enjoy what I'm watching, so I thought I would follow. Also seen that you're reading viewer stories and kind of want to send in mine. But it's still a work in progress as I'm rewriting the whole novel. Hey, Coral, no, absolutely. I always say it's totally fine for people to lurk. You guys never have to engage more than you want to, first of all. It's a free world. But, what was I saying? Sorry, wait, hold on. I'm processing my thoughts. They were going faster than me. But thank you so much for lurking. I know I'm sometimes a lot of people's third monitor content where I'm just your little background noise for a while, and that's totally fine. It's whatever way you want to consume media. And right now I'm on the internet, so I guess I'm media now. But no, you never have to have it as perfect and flawless as you can. Some people have even submitted previous story times where it was just the plot outline. Where it's just, hey, in chapter 1, I think I need this, this, and this. Chapter 2, I'm going to establish this, this, and this. Chapter 3, how does that seem? How does my rough outline look? Some people have even done excerpts like, hey, this is the idea I have for a story. Can you see any issues with it? Can you give me any ideas of what stuff would be fun to explore with this concept? So it never has to be like a perfect thing. Because one, it's never going to be perfect. But no, it doesn't have to be like any particular level. Oh my god, the poodle scared me. I thought somebody just broke into the house. It's just the poodle. Oh my. So the poodle got shaved down and he's wearing a Christmas sweater because it's cold. But I forgot that, so I just saw, because I'm not wearing glasses for the eye tracking for the model, I saw something blurry wearing clothes sitting up on the couch next to me. I was like, who just broke in? Who just broke into this apartment? Who just broke in here? No, it's just the poodle. He's just wearing clothes. That's all. It's fine. Please, no, I don't want to get murdered live on stream. That's just embarrassing. And then if I murder them back, then there's evidence against me. Let's not do that. Hi, Lupin Dupin. A swear equals a sip. Lol. Okay, well, Roots made me some drinkies here. You guys can have a sip. That's your sippy. Technically, your novel was finished already, but kept thinking of things to add to it, and wrote them all down. Decided to rewrite the whole thing after it was done while adding everything else to it. It's been rough. Oh, that sounds rough. I'm so sorry, but also, like, sometimes when we as writers realize that there's more work to be done, even though it's hard work, even though it's a lot of work, when we're like, no, it's finished, I don't wanna. Sometimes we do have to sit down and just do that level of work or a rewrite again. So kudos to you for doing it. I know it's not fun. I know the first initial dopamine and serotonin is from finishing that draft. But kudos to you for sitting down and getting back to work on it and putting in those extra details you needed. Horror in real life. It was just, so I'm really bad with my eyesight. I'm actually even really bad at seeing stuff on screen here. Anything more than a few inches away from my face is really hard to see. But the glasses were messing with the eye model, the eye tracking on the model. So I take my glasses off for streaming. So anything around the house looks really, really blurry. It's really hard for me to see it. And yeah, the poodle sat up on the couch. And again, he's a really big dog. He's not like the little toy poodles. He's a big dog. And he's wearing his Christmas sweater. He has the big fluffy poodle ears, so it kind of looks like hair. So I just see the silhouette of like somebody sitting up with the sweater. And I'm like, who is in the house? Hydrate or dihydrate? Here we go. Here's your sippy, sippy, sippy. Oh. Quick, everyone spam sippy for 1,000 points. What do you mean you hold a raccoon funeral? What does a raccoon funeral look like? I'm not even a raccoon. You guys are raccoons. I'm a cryptid. Author Relic's over here trying to start a revolution against my sippies. I'm at 700 cryptid points. I'm at 6,000 Q the evil. What? I am not afraid to ban you. I love all my raccoons, but if you guys start spamming the sippies, I am not above banning you. I'm not above it. Okay, Coral says currently on chapter 11 after revision, so it's been a slow roll. I'm more of a comic writer, but after helping my sister with her book a while back, I wanted to try to get back into writing after years. That's so exciting for you to be doing a comic write about and trying out a new thing. So I'm normally a novel writer. I mostly wrote stories and like big long stories. I wrote a lot of novels. But for the November challenge, what I started streaming with, I actually did a new thing, and I'm like, oh, to get back into streaming, I was gonna do a script. I did script writing for little animated animatics. I tried writing out scripts for that, and I loved it. And now I'm getting editing feedback on that before it goes to the storyboard artist. But yeah, definitely trying things outside your comfort zone for other story writing things. It's really exciting, and sometimes it does make you try new stories that you wouldn't normally do. Hi, Dredge, or did you encourage hearing that? So I come up with too many ideas and it gets overwhelming, but I gave myself goals for next year, and you're working on it. That's really, really exciting. Yeah, and you might even see this with your comic writing, sometimes with almost any story, really way of telling stories, right? Sometimes having a really thorough, since you already did the first draft especially, a really thorough outline everything, like this is what chapter 1 accomplishes, this is what chapter 2 does, chapter 3 is here. You can even write on the sides like, okay, the character arc is here, these characters are introduced here, this little red herring pays off here, and this like motif is repeated here. You can write all these notes on just for a really strong thing here, and then you can actually see like, oh yeah, even though that idea of mine's really cool, I don't actually need to include it. Or, oh yeah, that idea is really important, I should include it all the way here at the beginning so it makes sense when it comes into play later. Or, okay, this is a really important thing, let me list some breadcrumbs earlier. You have a few comic scripts done too, but you're rewriting one from a few years ago since the pace felt off. Yeah, and as you write more and more, as you keep honing your storytelling craft, you'll look back on older stuff like, oh, it absolutely served its purpose on helping you with your writing journey, with your storytelling journey. But now as you've learned more, as you've gotten better, you look back on old stuff and you're like, wait, I can now I can recognize when pacing's off. Now I can recognize when dialogue feels off. Now I can recognize when like, oh, this scene, even though I really liked it and I wrote it well, the scene just didn't need to be here. Let me kill my darlings and get rid of the scene because it absolutely just wasn't necessary. I only kept it because I felt so proud of how well I wrote it, but it doesn't need to be here. And you'll notice stuff like that. Oh, sorry, what? I got up with chat. So what I think chapter 2 sits just above 3 pages in. So I'm just gonna quickly speed read some of this. Facing North for the first time. I must know the truth about his parentage, that's right. Tell him I'll be so proud today, I'm sure. Baby Wren hollered. To Gray's arrival. Ulrich spent time with Wren. You said chat suits just about 3 pages in. Hydrate or dihydrate. Okay, here's your sippy. The relic, don't abuse it. Don't abuse it. How to go at sending mine for you to read. It is a Discord. If you see on our little channel here on Twitch, there is a link to the Discord. And within the Discord, just read the rules. There's not a lot of rules. Like, one of the rules is like, hey, just don't get banned. Doing so will result in ban. They're not super serious rules. It's just general good stuff to have here for being a good community. Um, and then there's a tab that you'll see, and it says story submissions, and that's where you'll post like the Google Doc or whatever it is that you have for your story. And normally I normally only read like 3 pages at a time depending on my voice. And then if my voice is okay, where you don't have too many story times or stuff, then I can read past 3 pages, especially if like people have repeated stuff, like this is a repeat submission for them. Author Relic has submitted multiple things, and sometimes I'll read longer. Um, um, but yeah, you can submit more, but don't be surprised if in the beginning, depending on how many submissions we get, if I only read up to 3 pages. It just depends on how my voice is doing, because I yap for many hours here on stream. I just do my best though. What was I saying? And then the only rule for submissions is no spicy, no smut stuff. I just get embarrassed reading like spicy adult stuff on stream. If you are submitting something that is the work has spicy content, but the stuff you're submitting for me to read isn't spicy, that's fine. I don't care that you give me your intro page, like your first chapter. If the spice and the smut doesn't start till chapter 3, that's fine for me. I'll just read up till chapter 3. Understandable. I will say the novel is kind of dark and depressing, to say the least. If it gets like really dark topics, it's not required, but some of my raccoons do read each other's work. Like you guys can give each other feedback for story submissions too. So if you feel the need to include like some trigger warnings or something for some people, just because it's not just me, it might be other raccoons reading it, that's fine. I don't have that as a rule though. Like I don't know. But if you think that would help some people and give them some help when they're trying to give you feedback besides just me, that's also fine too. There's your sippy. There will definitely be a trigger warning for certain things. Thank you for putting that. But yeah, otherwise I'm pretty okay with like gore and horror and like dark topics generally. It's just like the spicy, sexy stuff. I don't typically like reading aloud on stream. It makes me embarrassed. You can also do a summary for anyone who wants to skip the triggering content. That's true. How are we doing? Oh my god, you can tell. You can tell I'm sick. My memory's shit. Mainly because you were in a bad place in your life when writing it, so you added certain things you were feeling at the time into it. Cryptid can't read that spicy stuff. Cryptid can't even eat spicy stuff. Cryptid has very very boring palate. So yeah. I definitely do like read spicy stuff. It's just embarrassing to read it like live on stream, you know? That I'm like, wait, no. This is private. Oh my goodness. So yeah, but I know there's also a lot of other like 18 plus friendly people here in reading and writing category, and they actually do, and they actually like go through and they actually give tips and critiques for how to write like spicy scenes and make them good, and like just different things with that. And I'm like, that's really cool that they do that. I think they're really awesome people. The whole novel's probably a trigger warning now that I'm reading it. Oh, that's funny. This run will have a trigger warning down the road. Okay. So you said chapter 2 started a little bit past page 3. Oh wait, no. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, there's things here. Okay, wait. I didn't realize there were the chapter markers on the side. Okay, I'm gonna read the end of chapter 1 just to refamiliarize myself with what happened. You've seen Ren, so Brooklyn to Ilya. That's right, so the kid has to go to Black Rock at dawn. There we go. You don't use Google Docs, but I do use LibreOffice Writer to write out my stuff. File can be opened in Notepad or something as well if needed. That would probably be fine. I don't know all this tech stuff. Yeah, I don't know all the tech stuff, but we'll figure it out. And then even if it's something like, oh my god. If there are issues, I can always, like, message you about it. I typically, so you might see that I access the file before stream starts. I'm doing this thing now where I do open the file before stream starts, when you guys submit, just to make sure it can open, just to make sure I don't have issues, because sometimes people forgot to, like, give me permission to access the files, and I was having trouble with that on stream. So I make sure I can open it. So if there's any issues with I can't open it for stream, then I'll contact you separately before stream starts, so it won't be an issue, and we'll like figure it out. Yeah, it's a free Microsoft Office basically. Yeah, so that should probably be fine. But if there is any issues, I'll let you know. It will be in time before the stream starts. We'll figure out something. Worst case scenario. It should work, but again, worst case scenario, we'll figure something out. And what was I saying? And yeah, and then Lorenzo was even on earlier, like, oh, if I don't have Discord, is there still a way to submit? And I said you guys can still email me. There's a Cryptid Roots official email. Just put storytime submission or story submission in the title for the Gmail for the email, and then attach or copy paste your story there, and then make sure you put what user you are in chat. That way I know which of my raccoons sent it. You got your cocoa ready? Okay, so we're starting with chapter 2. Hydration. You guys are on thin ice. You guys are naughty raccoons. Here's your hydrate or dihydrate. Okay, there's your sippy. Let's see how many pages. Okay, this is 5 pages. Ren struggled with coming to terms with his new situation. He spent 2 out of the 4 days of the journey crying his eyes out. Kid, listen to me well. I'm only going to say this once. Crying isn't going to get you anywhere. We're going to Black Rock, which will be your new home for the next few years of your life. After that, you're free to go wherever and do whatever you want. Eldoria is still going to be there. So please, cut the crying. Gray said sternly, stopping the wagon. Sent your novel? Thank you, I'm excited. I might not get to it today. Oh, probably for next stream. I think this is the last one I'll read tonight, just to help protect my voice. Jeez, the mobile version doesn't adjust for nothing. Instead of shots, it's drink. Oh my god, maybe I'll have that as a challenge in the future. I normally don't drink. I've actually never been like drunk, because I just don't like drinking, so I never did it. Maybe I will have like a Cryptid read stories while drunk stream. That'll have to be like a sub goal or something in the future. That could be fun though. Because I said it before, I want to do longer streams in the future when I'm feeling better. I want to do a 12-hour stream. I think I want to do like a 12-hour stream like once a month or once every other month. I think that would be fun. And maybe I'll have like a huge sub goal in the future of like, oh yeah, you guys want to have drunk cryptid reading stories and giving drunken critiques. Oh, that could be fun. Oh, that is like a sub goal. Hopefully I can catch the next stream. Right now it's every other day. So tomorrow I won't be streaming. The day after that, I should hopefully be streaming unless anything happens. And then if you're in the Discord, I also give updates on if I can't stream or not, or when the stream is happening. So if you keep an eye on the Discord too, I'll let you guys know. Gray said sternly, stopping the wagon. Great job, Mr. Tough Love. And how did you fare when you were taken here as a kid, I bet you cried your heart out. Mommy! Daddy, why? I don't want to be a super cool Grim Warden, Celeste said sarcastically. I was an orphan, and you are a complete pain in my ass, Gray said, annoyed. Well, that sucks. Can we get going again? Celeste asked sarcastically. Not wanting to be scolded again, Ren sulked for the rest of the trip until the castle was in sight. Blackrock was a massive castle, with chunks of brick missing from its walls. One of the towers had been caved in, but still stood tall. The wagon stopped at the massive gate, and a booming voice spoke up. "Gray, you're back with a new student. You think they'll be a worthy challenger in the future?" the voice asked. If his grandfather's right about him, he might be as resourceful as Isel. Thornston, he's still a child, so don't be too eager for a challenge, Gray said. "Open the gate!" "Isel, you say? Interesting," Thornston said as he rubbed his beard. The giant peered into the back of the wagon. "What's your name, lad?" Thornston asked. "Rentalis Clevane, sir. I prefer Ren," Ren said, terrified by Thorsten's giant stature. "You don't have to be afraid of him. Thorsten's a gentle giant," Ellis said. "Clevane, you say? Any chance you related to King Edwin of Eros?" Thornston asked. "Yeah, he's my uncle," Ren answered. "Splendid! My axe and his sword have crossed plenty of times over the years. So I look forward to sparring with you someday, Ren." I think there should be a quotation mark here. Thorsten said eagerly. Thorsten had a smile on his face that matched his size as he now invested in Ren's training. Blackrock was like a mini city inside its walls. The sounds of the blacksmith's hammer and weapons clashing filled the courtyard. Ren took in his new home and its community. Blackrock looked like a bigger version of the training arena in Eldoria. Gray motioned for Ren to follow him. "Ren, today we start your training. In this room you'll begin the first part. This will prepare your body for what's to come. So drink it as quickly as you can," Gray said. "Gray? I feel woozy," Ren said. The room began to spin. Ren's body froze. His heart slowed to a shaky halt. He tried to get some words out, but couldn't. As his vision began to slowly fade, he fell to the ground with a loud thud. He woke up wondering if it was over. He tried to leave, but the door rattled as it was locked from the outside. Panicked, he yelled out for help, hoping someone would hear him. Nothing. He was alone. Just him in an empty room. The first day passed. He tried again, yelling to get anyone's attention, and again he got nothing. Saddened, Ren crawled into the corner, eyes filled with tears as he thought, "Why would Gray just leave me here? This isn't training. This is punishment." Ren sat in the corner for 4 days, hoping someone would open the door. On the 5th day, Ren was woken up by being splashed with a bucket of cold water. A Grim Warden stood before him. "Good, you're alive. First part of your trial is over. Now you'll be chosen by Familiar. Follow me," the Grim Warden instructed. The warden guided Ren to a hallway and pointed towards the arena entrance. The massive area had 4 gates on one of the walls. As the 4 gates opened, growls and roars from various creatures echoed throughout the arena, startling the boy. His body began to tremble with fear as a colossal wolf stepped out of the 3rd gate. The wolf's majestic white fur glistened in the sunlight as it circled its newly found prey in Ren. Once the creature stopped its circling, Ren stayed his fear and slowly approached the wolf. With every step he took, the wolf snarled, gradually rearing its massive fangs that were bigger than its arms. Standing his ground, Ren let out a booming yell that only a 5-year-old could muster. The wolf gave him a sadistic grin, before howling back in response. The wolf repositioned itself, gearing up to charge at the boy. Ren stared into the wolf's big yellow eyes, showing he was no longer afraid of it. The wolf paused as it studied Ren's body language. Ren took a deep breath and yelled again at the wolf. The only thing he could think of was that he was not dying today. Ren scanned the arena, trying to find any kind of exit. The creature noticed his gaze shifting and began to creep up on Ren slowly, closing the gap between them. Its relentless stare never strayed from the boy. Once it stopped in front, he took note of how much the wolf towered over most men. To his surprise, the wolf laid down and began to lick Ren. She had chosen him and was willing to become his familiar. Silly, I shall name you Cilia, Ren said in between laughs. Cilia rose and howled in agreement to her new name. Gray entered the room clapping. Good job, kid. Very few get accepted into a great wolf's pack. An honorable beast it is. You've passed your last trial. You're officially a Grim Warden trainee. Congrats. Aleste waited patiently for them with bread and water for Ren. What did he get, Gray? She asked. Great wolf. Ren, eat, and Aleste will show you to the trainee quarters. Get some sleep, because tomorrow you both will suffer, said Gray as he walked away. A great wolf, cool. Did you name it yet? Eagerly, she asked. Her name is Cilia. What about your familiar? I'll introduce you to. I named him Ruby, Aleste said as she grabbed his hand, leading him back towards the arena. They walked past the main gate, heading towards a set of stairs that went deeper into the keep. Lined up in rows upon rows sat most of the creatures that the wardens had captured. Ren followed in awe while still chewing the dry bread. One more set of stairs and we'll be there. On the bottom floor is where they keep the bigger creatures, Aleste said. I think there should be another quotation marks here. Mouthful of bread. Bigger? You questioned? Yeah. Creatures like Cilia and Ruby had to be housed down here due to their size. Ruby! She yelled out. A gust of wind filled the space around them, nearly knocking the cup from Ren's hand. A loud thud, followed by a loud and ominous snarl, sounded from the darkness. A very large wyvern poked its head out from the shadows. Ren dropped the little bit of the bread he had left. Ruby! Who's a good boy? Yes, you are. Ren, meet Ruby, my wyvern familiar. Ruby, meet Ren, my new underling. Ren, stick your hand up so we can get your scent, Aleste said as she scratched the wyvern's scales. Ren slowly put his hand out there for the beast. It put its head closer and breathed in his scent deeply before letting out a puff of hot air. Aleste tossed him a treat, and just like that, the wyvern flew off back to wherever it came from. I think he likes you. As for Cilia, you're going to have to go the other way and make a turn somewhere to get to the forest creatures. Now that you've gone the tour of the cages, come, let's get you to the quarters, she said, guiding him back. Ren almost cried at the sight of a bed. It had been the first one he'd seen in 9 days. He laid down, hoping to drift off into a luxurious slumber, but he couldn't. He just laid there, his mind wondering about home. His mother, his aunt, and his uncle were the only people who mattered to him there. Finally, his eyes closed, feeling the weight being lifted off of him, only for it to be ruined by the bed being kicked over. Good morning, sweethearts. Today is your first day training. Today you'll run 3 laps around the Castle Ren. Aleste, you'll be running the course 5 times. Afterwards, you two will spar. Ren, you've already had your first elixir, so you'll begin to notice the difference in your stamina. Gray said. Yeah, keep an eye out for ending the quotation marks. You really had to kick the bed over as you... Aless said. Indeed I did. Now move it, Gray said sternly. This was their daily routine for many months. Gray only sparred them on days that they had to drink an elixir. By the end of the year, Ren's hands were covered in blisters and calluses. He boasted an astonishing 0-270 record against Alest in their sparring matches. On day 271, he woke up with the feeling that this day was going to be special. He boasted an astonishing 0-270, meaning he's beating Alest, even though Alest has been there longer? Okay. Ren, you must have had a great night's rest. Good, because you're running the course today. Now that you're 6, that means I can increase your training requirements. I want you to run it 9 times. Your first 3 counts as practice. Unless you're cleaning the stables today. Gray said with glee. Stables? Gray, please, anything but stables. Get any of the other trainees to do it. I beg you, please, no. In here, Alest pleaded. It's my responsibility this week to clean the stables, Gray said. Lazy piece of shit. Language, young lady. He's 0-270 as a 5-year-old, right? Because after that, then he's 6. I'm not sure how realistic that is. I know he's been having training with his uncle, who's a great swordsman, but I mean, a 5-year-old is still only a 5-year-old compared to someone else who has also been training and has been training as a Grim Warden for longer than he has, because he's the new Grim Warden, so she has more Grim Warden experience than he does. So maybe in the beginning she won some, and then after he caught up. So like the first month he didn't win any of the fights. The next few months they were 50-50, and then at the end of the year then he was winning 100% of their matches. That might be a more believable arc. Oh, he's winless. So okay, so wait, so Alest has won the 270 in their sparring matches. Okay. Maybe make that a little bit more clear. I was a little confused by that. Language, young lady, Gray interrupted. You have your assignments now. Go get moving. Gray says he laid down on a cot. Yeah, she's older than him. Ren took a look at the simple but intricate obstacle course. He jumped through the stones and dodged the sandbags. As he thought this was easy, one of the stone's mechanisms activated, sending him flying into the mud. Finally, on his 8th attempt, Ren completed it covered in mud, bruises, and scratches. Tired, Ren looked around to make sure no one was watching before trying to leave. You got one more. No shortcuts, Gray said, eating an apple. Ren climbed back up, letting out a loud sigh. He set his feet and darted his way through the course. As he landed on the second to last stone, his foot slipped. No! Ren yelled before he went face first into the stone. He felt a stinging sensation coming from his head. As he stood, blood and mud rushed down his face. Panicked, he quickly put his hand over the wound. Good. Let this be a lesson. Speed isn't always the best path forward or something. Go to Mira so she can patch you up, Gray said as he threw the apple into the mud. They continued on training, running the course and doing Gray's chores for the next 12 years. Ren awoke to see the garden, the warding Gale. Ren, today's the big day. You officially become a Grim Warden. How do you feel? She asked. Feels like just yesterday Gray and Alest were bringing me here. I'm glad not to be doing Gray's chores anymore, Ren said as he grabbed his gear. Gale let out a big laugh. You did get the laziest teacher possible. But Gray's one hell of a fighter, so nothing compared to that. When you finish up, we'll go to the Great Hall to begin the ceremony. I feel like compared to what compared to your last submission, you did do a noticeable job. This is an improvement that you did slow down a bit. You did improve the pacing a little bit. You did let readers stay in a scene a little bit longer, so I do want to give you kudos to that. There is a noticeable improvement here. I do like that. That being said, I think we could still be stuck in some of these moments longer. It still feels a little fast-paced. And I think maybe even getting a frame of reference. Sometimes, I think you said before you struggle with pacing. If I'm remembering right, if I'm not getting all my raccoons mixed up. Sometimes taking books and stories you like, and then read a scene. Read a full scene. Like if, and then physically mark, okay, like this is a whole scene from start to end. And now mark, okay, how many pages was that scene? How many pages did the author actually let us do that whole entire scene to get you an idea of pacing? Because sometimes when we read, it seems really, really fast because we're just absorbing all that information. The scene's just playing like a movie in our heads. But now as a writer, not just as a reader, as a writer, go back and look at those scenes from writers you like, from published authors you like, and then read a scene and then physically take note. How much time, how slow is this pacing? Actually study how writers do it. And you don't have to like study an entire book, but choose one or two scenes that you like from stories you like and take note. How long is a scene? How long did this author take to write that scene? And that will give you a better idea once you're studying it in your head of what you can do now as a writer of your own story, to actually see that, to make note of that. Because it does still feel a little bit fast. This has covered multiple years still in one chapter. It's a lot more clear. I think the only thing that actually threw me off was that one remark about the winning streak, about which of them was winning. But otherwise, I did follow this a lot more logistically, so it's a lot clearer to read compared to the first submission you had before, where I was like, oh, I made notes about like, oh, like things are a little bit unclear before. I'm not sure about the timeline. I'm not sure about this. Things get a little muddied around. This reads very clearly. I can tell what's happening and when. So one, your clarity has gotten a lot better. I do want to give you kudos on that. The only part that really tripped me up was the little record thing. And that's just a, like just reword that sentence. There's just, you know, one little sentence, and then everything here reads very clearly. As far as like me as the reader, I'm not confused about what's happening. So both those things, I think those were both my critiques last time, was the pacing and the clarity. You have definitely improved on both of those. Absolutely. So I want to give you huge kudos for that. That's a lot of hard work. That's a lot of hard work. So full props for taking the critique you got last time and already doing so much work on what you have here in this story. So I think that one sentence, I think it could still be a little bit longer, and that's not something that you'll get right away until maybe you study a little bit more of other stories and authors you like, and notice, like, really full. Sometimes people just think, oh, you can only get better at writing if you keep writing more and more. But seriously, no, as a reader, what things do you like to read? And then study what you like to read. Like, like, examine it. How does a writer that you like accomplish doing something? And I recommend that for a lot of stuff. If you want to write fight scenes, look at other authors you write and how they write their fight scenes, if you like their fight scene. If certain authors write spicy scenes and you want to write a spicy smut scene, how do the authors you like their writing of, how do they handle it? How do they write it? My streak of missing your streams is broken. Hello, Triangle. It's good to see you. I'm so sorry. You're tuning in towards the tail end of this one, but we had this entire stream. It's been almost 3.5 hours. Has been nothing but story time. It's been almost 3.5 hours of story time and writing critiques. But it's so good to see you, Triangle. go for 12 hour. Not this one, not when I'm feeling like such crap. But yes, I definitely in the future want to do a 12-hour stream. I'm really ambitious. There's this little shadow on my shoulder saying like a 12-hour stream every month. And I'm like, no, let's not commit to something crazy like that yet. I hesitantly want to do one 12-hour stream every other month. I think that would be really fun. I think it'd be really exciting. I think there's a lot we could do with it. You're pulling the I demand because I'm a raccoon card. You know, I noticed I write lots of lists because of Rabelais? I don't know if I'm saying that right, I'm so sorry. He uses lots of lists in his novel. Yeah, see, even the media that we like consuming will absolutely influence us in the stuff that we then write. It's funny noticing stuff like that. I think with the current pacing I had, the sexy scenes would probably be the next chapter. So there are gonna be sexy scenes in this? Oh my goodness. And you see that's quite a jump, because you go from chapter 1 is when this character is born. He's a baby. Chapter 2, we're going from his year of being 5. And now turning 6, and then we then skip to when he is, what is it, 12? Hold on. For the next 12 years, so 12 plus 6, I'm gonna say he's 18 now. So he's woken up on his 18th birthday. And now he's gonna become a Grim Warden. Coming of age arc speedrun. So yeah, there's a, and then you said in the next scene there's gonna be, Cryptid's like sexy scene. I'm not saying I mean for my own personal stuff. Wait, what am I saying? Yes, I read sexy stuff. Will I read it live on stream? Probably not. So I'm just thinking of the pacing here. The sexy scenes are probably gonna be the next chapter. First chapter is a baby, he's just born. Second chapter is from 5 and 6, and then speedrun to 18. And the next chapter is sexy stuff. That is a whole lot of stuff happening in the first 3 chapters. Like if this is a sexy adult book that's gonna have spicy scenes and sexy scenes, I'm almost wondering why the first 2 chapters of him being a child are included. Not that you can't do it. I'm just questioning a little bit. He's not the one in that scene. Okay. So is he still like an 18-year-old in this one? I'm not quite sure. But yeah, definitely think of the if you are writing this to be published, which you might not be. You might just be writing this for you, just for fun. In which case you can take this advice and throw it out the window. Then it's whatever you want. If you are writing this to be published, I'd say definitely think of your audience age range. Some people say like, oh, know your audience, and it's hard to know what your audience is, right? But at least think of a general age range. Is this for adults? Is there going to be a lot of sexy content and very gruesome graphic stuff, fight scenes? Or is this like not too explicit in any way? And so far it hasn't been super explicit. So I'd say it's for fun, but you might post online. Never done it before. That would be exciting. That would be cool. Author's privilege of yeeting advice in the middle. Absolutely. And I always say that to all my raccoons. I will give advice, right? That's what I'm here for. I'm being your little blue critique partner. I'm giving you 1 or 2 things of advice. But you as the writer, you as the author, know whether or not that advice applies. And if the advice doesn't apply, if it doesn't work with what you know about something that I haven't read yet, because you know the whole story, I'm just reading a snippet, if something I'm saying doesn't apply, hey, I gave you the advice for free, you can absolutely put it in the trash for free, right? If it doesn't apply, it doesn't work. And I never want to make you guys think like, oh no, I have to listen to what Cryptid says, otherwise Cryptid's gonna beat me and not make me a raccoon anymore. That's not what's happening. This is just general advice and critique, and hopefully something I can give you does work. That way it's not a total waste of your time. But if something doesn't work, then hey, I'm so sorry. I did my best though, and now you as a writer know what does and doesn't work for it. Not gonna be graphic, but it's more like a character walking on 2 other characters. Okay. You know I'm still not done with the thing I wanted to submit. Oh no, triangle. Beat them. Beat the knowledge into their soul. Zone. Oh my goodness. So I have some vicious raccoons over here. You guys are silly. Hold on, the mouse gonna be wonky because I'm stretching. Oh. It's past 1 a.m. for a cryptid over here. You guys are such vicious raccoons. Just overriding advice. Oh my goodness. But no, I will never be insulted if you guys don't take my advice. So I never want you guys to feel that way. It's probably the content warning and the fight scenes. Okay. But yeah, otherwise my two critique. One, I've absolutely, in case you're worried, I've absolutely noticed a level up in your writing. The pacing is slower. The descriptions are better. There is a definite level up compared to your first mission in this. So full credit, I don't want you to forget that. There is a noticeable, you have worked harder and you have leveled up in your writing here. But I would say, and the next thing is still focus more on the pacing, focus more, study on other stories and stuff that you like, how they handle pacing, on how long they take and how they handle it, to spread out and not feel boring a scene. And then two, so I'd say my first advice is still the pacing. And two, I would love to see you do a full, and you don't have to, like, this is just advice, like, you know, I'm not saying you have to, but I would love to see you do like a story outline. What are you covering in the story? What are the plot points? How is this, what does this story cover? You know, kind of chapter by chapter or scene by scene. Because in a sense it's hard to figure out chapters, but at least scene by scene, like what's happening in the storyline, just map it out. Because I am wondering if that first chapter was actually the start of your story, because it does almost seem, now that we're to our character being 18, everything before this almost feels like a prologue that was stretched out into chapter 1 or 2. So I'm wondering what the rest of the plot is, because I think if you map everything out, then it's a little bit easier to tell what the actual start of your story is. I did one, but I didn't make a Google Doc for it. Yeah, and if you ever, if you take a picture of it, and I guess on pen and paper, if you take a picture of it, you can submit that for story time, and I'll try to read it as long as I can clearly read stuff. Or you can transfer it to a Google Doc, like, it's whatever. That's how I found out that I've got a giant hole in place of the first plot point. Oh my goodness, I feel you, Triangle. There. Yeah, sometimes when I've mapped things out, I had to stare at a wall for a while, because like I mapped out until I got like halfway through a story, only to then realize a plot hole that had to be fixed at the beginning, and I just stared at the wall looking at my plot map and being like, oh, how do I fix that plot hole? My magic system has a plot hole. How do I do this? How do I do that? Oh no! I absolutely feel you. I can go for some cheesy totes right now. Man, I wish I wasn't on my cycle. Then food would sound more desirable. I should actually probably take more medicine soon. That way I can sleep without being in pain. Cheesy tots. Cheesy, like, cheese tots right now. I'm glad you guys didn't think of food. But right now when I'm on my cycle, I want so much food, but it also makes me so queasy. Oh my god, it's horrible. That's horrible. But honestly, it's not too bad right now. If I was feeling like genuinely like bad, like when it's on my worst days of my cycle, I would not be able to be streaming, right? Because I do have what is most likely endometriosis, and I have had like times when like no, like I'm just screaming and I almost pass out in the shower because I'm just in so much pain for hours. And it's really like lucky that mom and pop at Cryptid are nearby, because sometimes they do have to check on me to make sure I'm like conscious and that they don't have to rush me to the hospital. So that's actually worked out really well. But right now it's getting better. We're trying a lot more treatments and stuff, and right now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, yeah, it's not the worst day of my cycle. I'm still feeling like shit, but I can be here. I'm not like in crazy pain, and I can like hang out with you guys for a few hours. You might do it in a lore section so I can remember names for stuff and characters. Hey, yeah, if that helps you, that'll absolutely be beneficial. But yeah, I think just plotting everything you want out will then help you realize what stuff that's like backstory and isn't actually included in the main story, but it's just stuff that you know your character went through. or that could be revealed in flashbacks later, that kind of stuff if it is important. And I think it will just help you. I think it will help you realize, like, oh, these are my story beats. This is the topics each chapter has to cover. This is how long it should be. This is that's my second critique. I think a thorough plot outline, just scene by scene. It doesn't have to be chapter by chapter, because I know placing chapters is hard, but at least scene by scene. And then and there's definitely an improvement in the pacing, but I think you could ratchet it up to another level. I forgot the name I gave to a character's mother. Yeah, see? If you collect enough story beats, you can get a story jam! That's how we do it. We just have enough little plot points, enough plot beats, and we string them together. You string them together until eventually they kind of resemble a story, and then you just keep polishing it until it's actually like a semi-decent story. Writing outlines really helps for me, so I know what to focus on each chapter and page. Yeah, when I was doing the rough draft live on stream for all of November, 30 days of streaming and writing, 50k words in 1 month. When I was doing that, people were, I'm like, oh yeah, here's my rough draft, and they were looking at it, and they're like, it reads more like an outline. And I'm like, oh, well, a rough draft's however you want to do it. There's no rules for a rough draft. Normally, you never see a writer's, like, actual first rough draft. Sometimes some writers have revealed earlier drafts, but I don't think we've ever seen an author's truly very first ever rough draft. We normally see early drafts, but not the first one. Historic Game of Thrones meet Witcher, that says anything about the tone. I definitely got Witcher vibes. The Grim Warden made me get very strong Witcher vibes. It felt very similar. What was I saying? I forgot. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was. But thank you so much, Watt, for submitting. It's always a pleasure for my raccoons to submit and trust me and have their stuff live on stream and actually give two shits about the advice I say. But yeah, I think the story outline, the plotting will help you. And then I think if you did submit that in the future, if you wanted to, like, not that you have to, but if you wanted to, I would love to go over a plot outline with you and figure out what your story beats are and what your chapters are and what the real beginning of the story is, because I think you're writing this chronologically. Thank you for sacrificing yourself for the content. Thank you guys for listening to me yap for so long. I did all this content with the writing and reading. I assumed nobody would show up. It was just gonna be me practicing how to stream and stuff. But honestly, I've been comparing the data between me streaming in the reading and writing category and me branching out to the gaming and stuff. And just, it's not even a competition. You guys absolutely prefer the reading and writing content and listening to me yap and doing story time and talking about critiques and stuff and how to improve your writing, compared to me doing like gaming content like most other streamers do. It's a very noticeable difference in engagement, in viewers, in subscribers. It's like every single metric that you can measure it by, I'm like, oh, everyone actually cares about like what I say as like a writing and as a critique person. That's crazy. So no, thank you guys for listening to me yap and caring about what I say about writing and tuning in all the time and listening to me yap about it all the time. For November it was like every day, and now in December we're doing every other day. So thank you guys so much. I think I'm gonna end the stream here. We've been yapping for over 3.5 hours now. I need to take more medicine to keep the pain away. And I will see you guys not tomorrow, but the day after. That may or may not reflect your skill in writing versus gaming. Triangle! That was mean. Oh my goodness. No, I'm still free. I'm really good at very specific types of games. I just haven't been playing those specific games I'm good at. Stream. And I thought it would be fine. I'm like, oh, people watch
like streamers fail at games all the time. It can be good content to see someone learning how to do a game. Apparently not. Apparently Triangle's calling me out of my shit. Oh my goodness. I was talking with Roots before, actually. I was like, when I was younger, like, Roots remembers, like, me, because they're my younger sibling. When I was younger, I did gaming all the time. I considered myself a gamer, right? And then, later high school and then college, right? I was in that relationship. I was engaged to that person even during college. And he liked gaming, and I could watch him game. But he got very bored and very dismissive over like playing games with me or watching me game my types of games. Very, very dismissive, very bored, didn't want to do it. So I could only ever really watch him game, but he would never watch me game. And so for years and years and years, I hydrate. Okay, here's your sippy. Ah, there's your sippy. Thank you for the hydrate. But yeah, I stopped gaming for years, and so actually, when I came back, I've still been learning to get back into gaming a little bit, because I stopped for so many years, and this was a really good excuse actually, streaming to get back into it a little bit. But yeah, I'm absolutely rusty. So I stopped for years. Having a bad relationship will really fuck you up. Did you guys know that? But yeah, otherwise, I'm gonna take medicine. Thank you guys for hanging around with me for so long. I hope you guys have a wonderful night or a wonderful day, depending on your time zone. And otherwise, I'm ending it here. Have a good one. Goodbye.